Yes. Good. Not morning. Not morning, is it? It's afternoon. Apologies. The show was going to be a little bit earlier, but I've been in London. I've been filming, talking football, and I've been talking football uptown in Central. Yes, been debating West Ham fans. On all things White Hart Lane, David Moyes, Pochettino, winning trophies, club legends, all these sorts of things. It's been good fun. You guys will be able to see that when it's released in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I, of course, will post it on my page when Sun Sport post it. But I had a very good time and sat in the green room having a really nice chat about all things Daniel Levy and Tottenham with Jim White, of all people. Very nice guy, very tall compared to what I was expecting. Had a nice little chat about Tottenham, about Levy, about what he's done for the club, and that's as much as I can say about that. But here we are on a Tuesday afternoon. It is 1:10. Tottenham Hotspur have announced a signing. It's very exciting. And Tottenham have announced Takai as a new Tottenham Hotspur footballer. So we'll have a look at that as we go on. And George, better late than never. He's here. There he is. Look, and you had a trim.
Yeah, just a little one. You know, I had to clean it up a little bit. So we're getting into the summer, so I can't be outside looking too bummy.
I like it. Are you single, George, going into this summer? Are you?
I'm around. Let's just say I'm around.
It's been years since I've been around. When you're married, you don't worry so much. Honestly, you don't worry so much. Welcome, mate. I was just saying, listen, apologies, everyone. I've pushed this show back. As I said, just been uptown filming. And I was just saying, George, just had a nice little chat with Jim White from TalkSport about Tottenham. And very interesting indeed. I can't say what it was, but very interesting take on Levy and Tottenham. But, George, we've signed a player. It's all very exciting. Let me show you all before George and I get into it. You can see there, look at this. Welcome to Kota. And we will read more. Thank you for suggesting that, TottenhamHotspur.com. We will read more. We're delighted to announce the signing of Kota Takai from J1 League side Kawasaki Frontale, subject to clearance and work permit, blah, 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 blah. He's just 17 years of age. He got his first team debut, coming on in an 8-0 victory. That's always nice, isn't it? After an imposing figure at the back, Kota continued to impress and help the Azuri Neuro to the 2024 Japanese Super Cup. Later that year, he earned recognition for his performances, claiming the Best Young Player Award, and has now gone on to represent Japan 4 times. George, I almost feel sorry for players like this because they sign at a time when Spurs fans are literally sitting here going, where's our first team players? Where's Kudus? Where's Paulinho? Where's Douglas Luiz? But we have signed an international centre-back. So what do you make of it? What's going on?
Yeah, obviously, look, I can't sit here and say I know too much about Kota, nor can anyone, because I doubt there's many people watching J League. But look, we've got a young player. He's 5 million. It's sort of risk-free in that sense. He can come in, and it's likely that he's going to be sent out on loan for the first year. If not, he may just be in and around the training team, but probably not going to get much first team football, especially with this being a Champions League year. Not really much games to throw away to give him the chance on. From what I've seen of him, the stats look all right. He's one of the top under 21 centre-backs in the J League, but being a top under 21 centre-back in J League probably isn't hard. It's not like a huge achievement. When you said top in Europe or top across the whole of Asia, it might have meant something, but just in the J League don't really mean too much to me. There was a lot of pressure on that side of things, like you said, because I was even speaking about, like, when you have the need to sign a marquee player, even like, let's say, Man United and Arsenal are in similar situations where they're dying for that big signing to come in. Neither of those teams are going to look to announce. Let's just say Man United go in for someone, they announce a smaller player whilst they're still trying to get the Mbeumo deal done. The club's going to lose its head. Just like if you saw Arsenal announce Madueke before Gyökeres. Like if you announce Gyökeres and then Madueke, it's no problem. But if you do Madueke and then it's like, why we're doing it the wrong way around? And this is sort of the thing with Kota Takai. But because it's a £5 million deal, I think people are recognizing, look, this is probably a deal that was so easy to get done. It didn't take much negotiations, whereas with a deal like Kudus, where we're negotiating with our rivals, it's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of pettiness. We already know what Daniel Levy's like with his deals. There's been numerous of stories when a deal's done and then he makes a call back to say, can we add this clause? Can we add that clause? It's just a type of negotiator he is. So with a deal like this for £5 million, I don't think you have that problem. But with the £50 to £60 million deals, typical Spurs, we're going to take some time.
No, I think you make a good point there. I think this is all about optics. I always say this, if you sign these types of players after you've signed big players, they kind of get celebrated a bit more. But I think now we're all a little bit tetchy. Everyone wants to know what's going on. And look, let's move. We'll come back to Takai a little bit later on. But let's be brutally honest, George. At the moment, the only thing that Tottenham are doing that anyone cares about, it is Kudus. So we talked about this last week on your show. That was the time where we were first getting the news that we're properly in for him. Yep. Then we found out, I think it was Saturday, that a bid had gone in a few days before and that we're expecting more bids. But most other clubs, when they do this, like when Chelsea have to go back for more bids, it's like they just go back, don't they? It's almost like they just WhatsApp back. All right, we're rejecting 50. All right, how about 60? With Spurs, it just seems like I'm not saying it's not going on in the background, but it just seems like we just go radio silent for days at a time. I mean, are we going to get this over the line, George, or is Daniel Levy going to look like a right plonker with egg on his face?
There's potential that he could look like a plonker for real. Like if he doesn't get this deal done soon, because there's other clubs that are in for Kudus. Now, we have obviously seen that Kudus has prioritized Tottenham, but for how long has he prioritized Tottenham? Because there's only so long that he's going to sit on the sidelines and be like, I'll wait for this deal to get done before another team comes in that can offer him Champions League football, plus potentially a bigger wage packet. And it's like, hey, I gave you guys a chance to sign me. You took too long to negotiate with my club. So I think there's potential that this could go bad, but with this deal, I'm a bit calm about it because it isn't just Tottenham that is having this problem. Man United put in their first bid for Mbeumo 5 weeks ago, and they're still negotiating for that second bid, and the third bid or whatever it is. But we're seeing this even with Arsenal and Gyökeres. Apparently, the talks started back in March, and have been talking with him. They know what the price is, but it's just been taking long to figure this out. I think the one thing as fans where we've got to either sometimes accept that a deal is going to take long, because there's two sides of it. There's some fans that we get the deal done quick, but we overpay for a player, so they're going mad. Oh, you paid 65 million for Richarlison and all of this, and it's like, why are you overpaying? But if we took 5 weeks to negotiate the deal to 35 million, why are you taking so long to get the deal done? Just get the deal done. So it's a case of you can take a bit longer to get the deal done and get a price that we're happy with, or you just get the deal done and then people are going to go mad about the price that we spent and we've overpaid. So there's two ways to look at it. I think I'm in the middle. Sometimes you have to overpay for players that you want to get the deal done sooner, because ultimately we have a preseason. And if he doesn't come in this week, I'm not concerned. But if he doesn't come in like a week before we go on our preseason tour, that's when the issue, like the 20th of July is when I really start to worry about our signings. So I'm like, preseason's coming up soon. We've not signed anyone serious. They need to be in with the team for a few weeks. So yeah, it's a very short time frame before it does start to become a huge worry.
Yeah, I think the thing is with us fans is we're very much once bitten 400 times a shy, right? Like which Spurs fan right now hasn't got that? I don't know if it's 5%, 50%, 100% in their mind going, we're just waiting for someone bigger to come in. We're just waiting for that news to drop from Ornstein or Romano that actually Bayern have now bid for him because Musiala's out, or Chelsea have bid for him.
I don't know if you saw. I did see some, apparently Bayern. I don't know how credible the source was, but I did see something saying Bayern had gone in for him, but he said that he's prioritized Tottenham now.
I saw that.
I don't know if I believe it, because it is Bayern, but hey, if he wants Tottenham that bad, then it feels nice for once. Someone actually really wants to come to Tottenham.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? 'Cause it's sort of like we look, and this is a good example, right, of the Alanga deal. Like we know that Alanga has signed for Newcastle United, or it's having a medical today, I believe. Apparently Newcastle went in last week, bid rejected, and then a few days later it's deal agreed. Be lovely, wouldn't it, George, if Daniel Levy could just do that with Spurs? Just start us all up for a few minutes. Let us all have a few days where no one can say anything bad, and we all go, phew, there's a first-team player through the door. That, for me, is the difference. Like you mentioned Man United there, but Man United already got their guy in Cunha, and we know that they're in their PSR issues, etc., etc.
Yeah.
We've got no issues, George. This is, I think, the problem with Spurs. We've got no issues. That's why it's sort of like, Daniel, if it is 60 they want and you've offered 50, can we just put the 10 million down?
Yeah.
Stop buying £5 million Japanese kids. Let's put the 10 million pound and get the deal done.
Yeah, we just the thing is with this Kudus stuff as well is I'm pretty sure from what I've heard is we're not that far off the valuation. They want 60 to 65 M's. Tottenham have put in 55 million, or 50 million fixed with like 10 million in add-ons. I really don't see why they're faffing around. Like, just give them I think they want 60 million pound fixed. You give them close to that and then put in some realistic add-ons that are going to help you get to 60. Then you could put in, because obviously I don't know if you saw the jokes and stuff that were coming out. Alex Crook released that Spurs are putting some add-ons for if we win the Champions League and Premier League. And it's like, yeah, all clubs do that. People are all making fun and jokes about it, but that's the point in add-ons, is you put some unrealistic add-ons in there that some clubs will be silly enough to accept because they think that, he might go on and win that. He might actually push on to do that. But we also need to put some in there that we don't think we're going to pay because we want to try and get the best deal as possible. And that's what it's a part of. But yeah, some people they're trying to make a joke out of anything.
I do find that funny on two sides. First of all, Phil Coys, I think when you're saying you don't know where the panic is coming from, I don't believe you believe that. I think you know why Spurs fans are the way we are, because nothing is a relaxing signing when it comes to Tottenham. We drag everything out, mate. So when you're saying relax, I feel like Spurs fans have got a right to be a little bit apprehensive. But you're right, George. It was it's one of those things, isn't it, where if Daniel Levy tries to put in that clause that other clubs will put in, he gets ridiculed. If he doesn't, he gets ridiculed. I've got no problem with him trying to insert that, but I've also got no illusions as to why West Ham would say no, because realistically, you're literally offering them 50 million because the add-ons become null and void. So for me, I get it, but the next bid for me needs to be realistic. The next bid for me needs to be, I don't know, 57.5 million with 10 million add-ons if Spurs finish top 4 or if something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm expecting by the end of this week, I really want to see that we're close, at least close, just edging.
Yeah, that's the case. It's just a part of like negotiating it. So you've got some, because as you know, like when you've got add-ons, there's loads of different add-ons that could trigger things. It could be Kudus makes 50 appearances for Spurs. He makes 100 appearances, something else triggers. He scores 25 goals. You just put in some realistic ones that will be staggered across the next 3 years, and they'll probably accept that deal. They just want to know that they're going to have 60 million pounds in for him. Pretty much almost double what they've paid. So they've made themselves a good profit, and they're in a PSR issue. So quite clearly they want to balance their books and make sure they've got some money to spend for this summer. Because people have seen West Ham have made absolutely no moves this summer. I've seen West Ham fans complaining. I've actually heard West Ham fans might protest about this deal being done. I don't know if you saw a poster going around, Savva, but they've put up this poster. We want to make a protest. Yeah. We can't let this happen. And I bloody love it. I'm not going to lie. I loved it.
Do you know the funny thing about this is it was a few days before that post went round, I'm hearing how shit Kudus is from all the West Ham fans. Oh, have him. We're not bothered. And then 2 days later, it's, oh my God, protest if he goes to them. But I'll tell you what's going to be interesting about this, George, and I don't want to go negative on it, and I really hope we get the deal done. I told you last week what I think of him. I think he's a top player. It's going to be very interesting to see if it doesn't happen, what the fallback plan is, because every club's going to have a list of players.
Yeah.
And my worry is, George, always got this worry. This face wasn't born worrying. It was Tottenham Hotspur induced. My worry is that Tottenham go, oh, all right, we'll go and get Dibbling. That's my concern. Will be all right. Semenyo can't get, we can't get Mbuemo. All right, we can't get this guy. That's my worry. Do you see where I'm coming from? And would that be underwhelming to you?
Yeah, I mean, Spurs been looking at Diblin heavily since January, innit? Spurs have wanted him. And to be fair, I'm surprised that the links have cooled as much as they had, because I actually really thought Spurs were going to go in for him in the summer. And it wasn't a signing that I would have prioritized. I think for me, Diblin's a very good player, but he probably still needs a few more years before he's at a level where he can actually add to a Champions League level side, because he's only played a year or two at the senior level. So I'd be very underwhelmed with this signing, just simply because Tyler Diblin isn't a player that even starts for Tottenham's best team at the moment. Like, he's a good profile and he's a player that we don't have a like, but at the same time, what level does he contribute at? For Southampton last year, I think he got like 5 goals across the full season or something in the Premier League. It's not a player that is going to pull up any trees for us right now. Plus, he's going to cost around 45 to 50 million pounds. So it's a lot of money to spend on a player who's not going to have, like, if we're going to go from spending 60 on Kudus to 50 on Diblin, that's horrible business from us. Like, horrible business.
Someone said to me 2 weeks ago, and I didn't want to believe it at the time, they said, how long with the Kudus deal will it be until we see Spurs just 5 million apart in valuation? Because we always see that. Yeah. And then how long after that falls apart will we see Tyler Dibbling is Spurs' main priority, always has been, deal imminent? Look, I hope they've got a plan. Listen, I really do want to see Kudus in a Spurs shirt. I think he really is what we need. I saw some reports. Again, there's loads of reports. I don't believe everything I read, but some people saying, oh, possibly Basuma going the other way as a bit of a make weight worth, 15, 20 million. Then we get Kudus for 40. Surely, though, there's something that could be done, George, right? Like surely we're not that cash. We're not that cash starved that we can't do something, whether it's straight cash, add-ons, a player going the other way. You would think that this is a deal Tottenham can get done. And if we can't, George, it doesn't really bode well for the future that we can't get deals like this over the line. Because this isn't like Liverpool trying to get Wirtz. Yeah. Right? This isn't that type of deal. So is it a worry if we can't get this over the line?
It's a huge worry, I can't lie. 60 million pounds is not a lot of money in this market currently. And if you can't agree deals for around 60 million pounds cash, then we've got an issue with what type of club we're going to become. Because there's, I don't expect Tottenham to be spending 95, 100 million pound on players, but 60, 70 million is just the going rate. Look, Newcastle spent 55 million on Elanga. Chelsea just spent 55 million on João Pedro. That's quite clearly the going rate for players that are around 23, 24, and they're ready to sort of reach their prime if teams really want them. So I don't see, especially when you're seeing all your rivals get deals done at around these prices, there should be no problem as to why Tottenham can't go and get it done. So it'd be a big problem if we don't. And then if we opt for another player for around 45, 50 million, it just doesn't make no sense for us at this point in the market. Like, we just need to go out there and get the job done for this deal. And whether that is throwing some players at West Ham, I'm up for that. If you want to throw a player like Basuma at them, he's poor, and I don't think he adds to our first team, but could add to theirs. I just hope that we don't throw because if West Ham was smart, they'll try to come for one of our young players, isn't it? Like, we've got an abundance of young talent coming through at the moment. They're smart. They try, sweeten the deal with one of those, but 55 to 60 million pounds. If we can't get a deal done for that, then what deals can we get done? Really?
Yeah. Do you know what, George? By the way, just quickly, yes, the member show, sorry, has been changed to tomorrow at 4 p.m, guys. So sorry, I've got to take Stanley to the vets at 4 p.m. He's got to have his little, you don't need to know, nothing major. I've just got to take Stanley to the vets this afternoon, and I can't tell my vets to change the time because I'm doing a members only show. So that'll be tomorrow at 4 p.m. And just so you know, tomorrow at 5 p.m, the Savva and Lubo Ask Us Anything, Iggy from Tottenham Away will be stepping in while Lubo is in Portugal. But tonight we'll be back at 10 p.m. as well with a Spurs-style emergency meeting. And yes, I absolutely ripped it off from Lee Gunner with his permission. Don't you worry about that. I mean, the interesting thing here, right, is you mentioned there about the going rates of players. And it feels like more and more when you're having football conversations with people, they'll go, "Oh, that's expensive. Oh, this is expensive." But these are the rates. You mentioned it. Like Eze, his release clause is 68. Yeah. Pedro was 55 plus add-ons, I believe. Semenyo, they wanted 60, 65 before he got a new contract. This is Alanga, 55 million plus add-on. This is the going rate. And unfortunately, George, if Spurs want to keep buying players like this, we're going to have to man up, pay these fees, and we're going to have to, as a fan base and a club, stop harping back to failed transfers we've made, because we do that a lot. Oh, but Ndombele. Oh, but well, yeah, you get some right, you get some wrong, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's it. Like, you're not always going to get a transfer right. Yeah, Richarlison spent £60 million on. It is what it is. But like, going out there and spending that money is taking the risk on the player going well. Like, I remember when we spent 43 million on Davinson Sanchez in like 2018, 2017. That was a massive deal at that time. I remember that those are the same year that Arsenal brought Aubameyang for pretty much the same money. Spurs were showing some type of ambition to compete with money-wise. We just spent £40 million on Archie Gray. Like, at the moment, like, for me, I've started to disengage when it comes to, oh, this is too expensive. This is like, at the end of the day, the prices are what the prices are. The market is what the market. No team has control of the market apart from when someone overpays for a player. That just messes up the whole market, because other teams are going to want what that team's paid for that player and so on. And I think you may have said it before, that is like, at the moment we're in a seller's market. Like, the teams, the smaller clubs that are selling their players, they're in control of the prices. It's not big teams. Oh no, we're willing to pay this amount. No. They'll keep the player. They don't mind. Like, there's so many suitors out there. Somebody's always willing to overpay for a player, especially with Saudi coming in nowadays. Even with like the Osman deal, you can see they're willing to pay whatever Napoli want for Osman. Galatasaray don't. But ultimately, Napoli are in a position where I don't need to accept what you want, because I've got teams that are willing to pay this money. So, yeah, look, the going rate for players right now has gone up drastically. And yes, it is overpriced. You know, Alanga in a normal market, you'd think he's not a £55 million player, but at the same time, in this market, he is a £55 million player. That's just what it is. Like, 55 million is the new 25, 30 million now. Like, that's where I see it. If a player is really good, you go and spend 80, 90 million on them. You don't really get like top players for under those prices anyway. So yeah, man, it's tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. And by the way, listen, I think the key thing is with a lot of fans as well, when people are saying, "Oh, don't panic" and all this, I think it's because we realise it's not just this deal we want to get done, George. There's a lot of talk that after this, it's going to be a midfielder. People talk about 6s and 8s. I don't give a crap about the number. Right? I don't care. Right? I want a top centre mid. Right? Lots of talk that's what we're going to be going after next. Lots of people talking about Douglas Luiz as being a possible option. Are you sold on Douglas Luiz? I mean, he had a number of good years at Aston Villa. He's gone to Juve, not probably played as much as he would like. They've got a lot of options. Do you think that makes sense for Spurs? A player like Luiz, 25 million euros, bit of a no-brainer, right? Or do you not?
Yeah, I've also heard that they want Basuma as well. So we could work out a way to send the Basuma their way and us get Douglas Luiz. Obviously, we have a really strong relationship with Juventus as it is with Paratici and coys. So Douglas Luiz would be a good player. But I'll be honest, I think we need a number 6. We need a defensive midfielder. I think he can play the role, but I don't think he's the level of quality that we need. So I think Douglas Luiz, if he's replacing Basuma, is good, because he'll be an option for Tottenham. He can go into that middle, play the double pivot at times, also do the job in the 6 at times, but not our go-to option. I still think we need someone else to come in and be that player. Now, whether Spurs are going to go out there and actually sign the number 6 that we need, whether that's an Ederson, Angelo Stiller, or Ravella, and all these types of players that we've all looked at, I don't know. I don't know whether Spurs are going to go do that. But I feel like if we do sign a Douglas Luiz, we're going to also have to sign another midfielder, because I don't think he is the one player who will naturally improve us. I think that there's some concerns regarding his last year at Juventus and whether he can get back to those levels at Aston Villa that he was performing. And yeah, it's only one season it has been, but also those 1 seasons, and they can take a toll on you. You know, you've been into another country, you got to come back to England and try find your feet again. It may just be smooth transition. He comes back and he performs at the same level he was before, and he was a top player. Like people are talking about signing him for 40-50 million pounds. Arsenal were heavily in for him and a few other clubs, but at this moment, it's like, I don't know if he can be our main midfield signing. I don't know if I'm convinced that much of him.
Fair enough. See, what I think we're going to see more than a number 6. This is only my opinion from watching how Brentford have played, which is what we can go by. I think it will be probably 2 hard-working eights. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be more of that rather than. Let's be fair. If ever we needed a 6, it was this wide open kamikaze system that needed a 6. But I do agree with you. I think we need somebody in there that's capable of breaking up play, somebody who's got that defensive mindset, somebody who doesn't mind just sitting and doing the unglamorous stuff. And we are linked with a lot of people. Like I've seen Ravella's name being chucked out there. I've seen Paulinia's name. I've seen Luis. I've seen Pasili of Roma is another one that was highly a massive rumor before the under-21 tournament. But we do seem to do one at a time, don't we? You know, like it seems like Arsenal have got a lot of plates spinning. You know, it seems like they've got the goalkeeper here, the midfielder there, the winger there. Chelsea have always got 4 or 5 on the go. We might have, George. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying we're not, but at the moment, to the naked eye, it very much seems like we're a one at a time club, which is very frustrating.
Yeah, it can be frustrating. I'll be honest, though. I do think since Johan Langer's come in, he's done really well to quiet down rumours, and just rumours of surrounding Tottenham as a whole have gone down drastically. Like we used to see rumours to every. I think when it was just Paratici involved, for one, the Serie A rumours were just fucking flooded. Like it's just every other day, there's a new Serie A player that we're linked with, someone from Genoa, Bologna. We're looking at this one, we're looking at that one. Right now, it seems like we only actually get linked to players that we're strongly looking at, we're actually in for. So look, I'm not going to fault it because I don't necessarily think Spurs are working on one deal at a time, but it does look that way. But I've got a feeling that a lot of stuff is going on in the background because I can only take from last summer, a lot of the signings in Odebert, Solanke, they just popped out of nowhere at one point. It was like, oh, Spurs have almost agreed a deal for them. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's some praise to go to Johan Langer and his team for keeping stuff, you know, under wraps and not letting it get out there. But at the same time, it does sometimes leave you thinking, like, what is going on in the world of Spurs? Are we making moves? And you're questioning them.
Yeah, no, of course. And I always say this, isn't it? And nearly everything I say when I'm on YouTube, I always caveat with, we can only assume. We can only assume a lot of what's going on. For all we know, Spurs might announce 3 players next week. What I do know is, though, that the links are starting to come, like you said, the links are starting to come quite strong with Italy at the moment. Yeah. We had last week, didn't we, that the link were from, was it Ben Jacobs or Matt Law? One of them was saying about Coney De Vinter of Genoa, who plays centre-half stroke defensive midfield. Yeah. The links have come thick and fast with, who was the other centre-half we've been linked with out of Italy? Why Scalvini, yeah. And then you've got the Basili links. It seems, I don't know, and the cynic in me would go, is that Paratici? Is this some Paratici magic going on in the background? I know they're only rumours, but they're starting to pick up a bit.
Yeah, especially when they're young players as well. Because I feel like one thing about Paratici is always looking for the next up-and-coming players. Even at Juventus, if anyone would have looked at Juventus's business during his time there, they were just consistently churning out 20, 21-year-old signings that would come to Juve. Whether they worked out or not, they'll get moved on, and then they come back, and then they get moved on and have all these clauses in them. So when I'm seeing these links to all these up-and-coming young players, it's definitely a case of Paratici's got his hands in some of these deals and maybe trying to work something out for Tottenham. But I'll be honest, like, I think right now I'm in the space of I just want some proven players. We've got a lot of young players on our books, a lot of up-and-coming players on our books. we just need some proven quality in there, some experience, because I think that's one thing that we lack. Like, we haven't really got players. Obviously, we've just won something, so we've got players that have experienced that winning now, but I think we need players that can steady the ship, a bit more older players as well, some more, maybe 1 or 2 veterans into the team, because we do have a fairly young team. I think we probably just need some. That's why when we looked at the Norgard, I was like, Norgard would be perfect for us because he's about 31. He comes in as a more senior player into the team, and he's familiar with the Thomas Frank system. So he would just come in, settle the team, and basically orchestrate what's going on the pitch. I feel like we need an orchestrator on the pitch because Spurs definitely lack those leadership qualities at the moment. And that's another thing. Do you think that Thomas Frank's going to maintain the same leadership group that we currently have, or do you think he'll make any changes?
I feel like there needs to be changes. I think the problem you've got is Sonny. It's up and it's uncertain. Is he staying? Is he going? And on that one, I don't think we're going to really know until we get back from South Korea. I mean, we can all assume he's here until at least the plane journey back from South Korea, when Spurs have made their marketing money. Romero, again, up in the air, isn't it? Does he want to be here? Does he not? New contract or not? Does he go Atletico? The only one I would say that's 100% out of those 3 would be James Maddison. And you can't just have James Maddison.
Yeah.
Other than that, I look around, I don't see any leaders, George. I genuinely don't look at any of our players and go, that's a captain. So maybe, listen, for all we know, Thomas Frank, listen, again, we don't know the conversations that are being had, right? We only know what we're told. For all we know, Thomas Frank might have turned around and gone, I must have this and I must have a leader. Yeah. And Spurs might be working on it. So I would expect a leader of some sorts to come into the club. I think we need it, mate. I don't see a captain. I don't know. By the way, I don't see a captain in Romero, Maddison, or Son.
Well, Son
I don't see a captain in any of them at Tottenham right now.
Yeah, that's the thing is, and I was speaking about with Jay on my stream before, like, I feel like Spurs lack those leaders, and I feel Thomas Frank has to come in and impose who he wants to be in his leadership group, what captains he's going to bring in, and that comes with potentially bringing in a player who's going to be that, or identifying that within the dressing room. But at the moment, within our squad, I don't necessarily see any leaders. Now, that may be a case that Ange maybe didn't give them the platform to lead. And that could have been another question. Maybe he left it in their hands a bit too much, because a lot of the stuff that I was hearing was, when you listen to the Jed Spence interviews, it's like there's not really a leader. Ange does a lot of the talking, but away from that, there's different players that you go to for different things. I feel like every club needs a standout captain that just leads the team. Everyone listens to, everyone respects. We don't have that, but he needs to find that. So, yeah, whether that's bringing in a centre-back that can do that for him, or bringing in another player that's going to do that, we just need some experience in that time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you on that front. Listen, just let me do a couple of super chats, people, and also smash the likes. I mean, we've got 520 people in here and 120 likes. 400 people have not smashed the like button, and it is very important to YouTubers that you do. Also, let me be shameless. We are 22 subscribers away from 19,000. 22. If you haven't subscribed, the link is pinned. Also, please, could one of my mods please put up George's link? Durag Diaries. Now looking at your next target. You went past your one the other day, right? Are you looking at a new?
We're on close to 2,800. I think we're like 50 away or something like that. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We're working our way to 3K soon. Working our way to 3K. Just keeping the shows up.
It's a graft, man. You got to grind. You got to graft. It is what it is. Let's have a look at what the super chats are saying. A big up to DMB forever. Always in it. Always very generous with his picture of the 1984 European winning side there. Big up to you, DMB forever. Really appreciate everything you do for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I do. And Winston Lawrence, thank you. I appreciate this as well. So pick up Savva. I love what you do. Winston, one day I hope to get a WhatsApp like that from my wife. I'd love to just get a message from my wife saying, big up Savva. I love what you do, rather than have you put anything on for dinner, or have you washed anything? Or
there's always a question, isn't there? There's always a question. It's like, what have you done today? It's like you're at school fucking giving your report, bro.
Yeah. She'll go, any good streams? Yeah, good streams. Yeah, good. How much money did you make? Yeah, I made. Did you get anything out for dinner? I was like, I knew there was a reason. I knew why you messaged me, and it wasn't about football. Big up to you, Winston. I also saw you ask about YouTube membership. Listen, the easiest thing for me to do is I always show people how to do it. If you go onto a channel, for example, this is Sean's channel. So if I go onto Sean's channel, the button right there that says view channel at the top here, press view channel, and then there's a button there you can see that says join. If you press that join button, you will see. Don't do it for, well, do it for Sean, but do it for me is the point. Press join and you can become a member of the show. YouTube often move around how to become a member, and the members only show, as I said, is going to be tomorrow at 4 p.m. We've got a lot of stuff for you. Tomorrow's a very busy day. We've got the morning show, followed by the members only show, followed by Savva and Iggy Ask Us Anything, followed by PSG and Real Madrid. So tomorrow is a day where the wife will be upset. There'll be no washing done. There'll be nothing like that getting done. Look, George, I think the thing that's frustrating is we're now at the stage where we've got our first friendly tonight, which I was meant to be going to, but because of Stanley, I now can't go, which was Bromley versus Tottenham. But then in the next 10 days or so, the actual proper, the proper friendly start. So in 10 days' time, we've got Reading, I believe, followed by Luton, and then it's Asia, right? So we want them in before that, right? We want whoever these signings are, whether it's Kudus, whether it's Paulina, Eze, Kudus, whoever it is, we need it before we go to Asia, don't we? To give these players the best chance of settling into learning how Thomas Frank wants to play.
Yeah, definitely. I think those preseason tours give you the best time where you get all that time away with the manager. You get to focus on, what the manager needs from you. He gets the best time to look at you, evaluate the squad, but also that's where a lot of tactical work is done, identifying how the team's going to play going forward for the season. So for me, it's really key to have him or have our key players in that preseason. Because I remember last year watching the preseason and seeing how important Bergvall was in that preseason, just how he's playing, watching him playing. And from watching those games, you could identify real early that this is going to be a player that's going to be important for Tottenham soon. So I feel like those games are key for us to actually evaluate. And the thing is, with the Asia tour, it's not like we're playing scrubs. Usually you're going out there and you're playing. We got Arsenal, Newcastle, Bayern, and then straight after that we go into a PSG game. So this is pretty much a Champions League warm-up. That's how I see it for me. This is early Champions League, pre-season Champions League, because we're playing 4 teams before we start the season that are all going to be involved in that competition for us. So this gives us a very good opportunity to try and evaluate where our squad is at. Now, I'm not going to be mad. Look, if we lose against Arsenal, Newcastle, and Bayern, cool. I just need to see how we lose, how it plays out. I just need to see the level of what Tottenham is at compared to these teams, because let's have it right, these are all teams that at this moment in time we aspire to be competing with. Newcastle are in the competing for the top 5, potentially could be in the top 4 next season. Arsenal already into the top 4 and Brighton are winning their league. PSG are doing what they're doing and could potentially be the Club World Cup winners. So all 4 of these teams are teams that we want to be competing with. We need to go into those games with some good players so we can show our levels. So Kudus and whoever that is going to be, I think at least 2 first team signings in before those games. And then obviously after that, you can evaluate and see, we need to add 1 or 2 more players here. We need to add in some, and I'll be fine with that. But at least 2 first team players, I feel like we need to see for that preseason tour.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is what, I always see this every window. And obviously being a YouTuber, you get told this more than anything is, don't worry, the window's not shut yet. Don't worry when the window's shut. But I do feel that pre-season is so important for certain players to be brought in to fill a position and to get used to a manager. And I'm never a fan of those signings that, unless they're top class, those signings that join in the last week of August and that they have had no pre-season, no training, no friendlies because there's been some sort of transfer furore going on. So I'm just hoping that we learn. That's all I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we learn from that. And I'm hoping to see people like Kudus on the plane I'm not bothered if he plays against Reading. I'm not bothered of him playing against Luton. I'm bothered about get him out there, as you said, against Arsenal, against who's it? Arsenal, Newcastle, Bayern Munich, and then PSG, right?
And the Super Cup, yeah, the PSG, pretty much 5 days after that. So bloody hell.
Yeah. So I want, and then before you know it, we're back in the season. We're back. Literally, it's back before it's even gone away. Let me ask you. Yesterday, George. Yesterday it was announced. They fully announced Spurs' coaching staff. So this is slightly different to normal. This is the first time for as long as I can remember that Tottenham have gone out. Not only did we get the manager, we got nearly all of his coaching staff as well. And he's brought like 6 or 7 people. Even this morning, 1 or 2 more were announced, performance analysts and this and that. Do you think that's going to make a massive difference that not only have we taken Frank, but we've taken his team as well?
Huge difference. I remember when we signed Ange, I was really, to be fair, it was a red flag from the jump that Ange doesn't go take his assistant managers with him to every club. It was just like, this is strange. Maybe you obviously I can get that you want to upgrade and you want to, develop yourself. But if you're not taking your assistant managers, but you're maintaining the same system everywhere, it doesn't really make sense because now you've got new coaches in that need to learn your system and so on. It doesn't add up. Now with Frank, he's obviously got a very extensive and wide coaching team because, like I said, it was like 6 staff members all playing a different role. I feel like that will help embed the team in a lot quicker into what Frank is doing because everyone's been doing this journey. We obviously seen some little behind the scenes of Justin Cochran taking the training, and you can already see just some of those coaching aspects of just speaking to the players about what they need to do, where they need to move, and it's a bit refreshing on that side of things. And yeah, like I say, it's a huge surprise. Like we obviously saw when Charrington came in as being a non-executive chairman or non-executive board member or so on, that changes were needed. And now we're actually seeing that change. There's a lot of, I feel like this is probably one of the biggest coaching staff Spurs have had behind the team in a while, maybe since Pochettino and so on, because like I said, there isn't just, his coaching team that come in. There's a few other positions that were also filled, whether it picked up a goalkeeping coach who just left Liverpool, picked up another coach that just left Leipzig. I saw 2 academy coaches got promoted into some first team roles as well. So it seems like Spurs is trying to have a wider coaching team. And I think that should help us. That should help us, hopefully, innit? Like all these little things supposedly make a difference. So you can only just hope that actually does have that required impact.
No, absolutely. I think it makes a huge difference. And we saw, that was going to be my next point to you, was going to be, did you see the video from yesterday? Yeah. It was funny because somebody sent me a conversation on X where somebody had posted the video of Justin Cochrane coaching the players. And they said the Spurs players probably don't have any clue what he's talking about because they've not had any coaching for 2 years. And it did make me laugh, but you could see already. I mean, yesterday, obviously they were put through their paces. You could see the guys were looking very, very tired. But it's good that we've got these coaches that know how Thomas Frank plays. The medical staff that knows what he wants, the analysts that know what he wants. It can only be a good thing for Spurs. But are we in a situation where we're concentrating so much on all of this stuff that seems to be away from the pitch, George, that we're forgetting the pitch? Like, I feel like Spurs are very good at this every year. Rather than concentrating on top players coming in, it's always, oh, we've done this. Look over here. It's like a magician, isn't it? It's like, don't look over here. We don't want you to see that. Look at this shiny thing over here. Or is that me being too pessimistic?
I think it's not pessimistic, but at the same time, it's just like sometimes you got to accept both. Like you've just got to accept both ways that it comes, whether there's going to be a huge change and whether it's going to have a massive impact. Well, it remains to be seen, but it's one of those ones, Trevor, innit? Like you can always look at things 2 sides. You can always look at both sides of the coin and you can be happy with either. At this moment, I've started to just learn that, look, sometimes you just gotta leave it be. You just gotta leave it be. You just gotta be like, hey, look, when we actually see the evidence and when we actually see it play out, let's see the end result. But up until then, it's hard to judge.
No, absolutely. And by the way, Matt, with all due respect, shut up. I've not changed my tune at all. Matt, you're in here every day pissing me off. I don't know. You just frustrate the life out of me. I've not once ever said the Spurs shouldn't move quickly. Whether a deal is easy to do and whether or not I want us to move quickly are two very different subjects, Matt. We all know that you shit yourself when I asked you to come on. We all know that you shit yourself when you've said you're going to come on. Mate, I want us to do deals very quickly. I just acknowledge that some deals aren't easy to do. I don't think the Kudus deal should be one of those deals. We're at a stage now where all we're hearing is he only wants Spurs. We're hearing that we're the only club negotiating. For me now, Levy hasn't really got anywhere to hide. Yes, get the best deal for the club. I'm down with that. I've got no problem with that. But it's the tightrope, isn't it, George? It's that fine line between play that game, Daniel Levy. But if somebody comes in last minute and goes, we'll have him, no messing around, that's when we all go, bloody hell, you should have moved quicker. So I'm all for the negotiation game. I get it, but it is that if it's Chelsea, let's be brutally honest. We're talking about Chelsea. If Chelsea come in, we're fucked. So to this point, this isn't true, but I just wanted to get that out there because this guy loves it. This guy says shit to me every day, like.
Definitely a rage baiter, man. He knows what he's doing. He watches you enough to know what's going to piss you off pretty much. So
just buy Verts. He's that sort of guy. Just buy Verts. We can do it like yesterday. Why not buy Sesko? Arsenal didn't get Sesko. Just go for Sesko at 90 million. Yeah. Don't worry. We struggle with Kudus at 60, but sod it. Let's go and get Sesko. Anyway, George, talk to me, right? What do you want to see? What do you want to see going into Super Cup, going into Burnley? What is it that you want to see from the first 10 games from Tottenham Hotspur? I'm not talking about 10 wins. Obviously, we all want to see 10 wins. But what is it that you want to see that will show you that we've done the right thing in getting rid of Ange, the right thing in bringing in Frank, and that there are green shoots for us to look at as fans? What do you want to see personally?
So obviously going into the games, if we make a few new signings, then it's just a case of seeing Spurs competent, for one, competently defend. I need to see a strong defensive structure because I think there's been a lot of questions surrounding the defenders that we have and whether they're good enough. And the questions are, they're rightly so. The players are being questioned because our defensive performance last year was terrible. Yeah. Now, you can look at it and we can say that this was Ange's fault, that he lacked structure, which is all very clear to see. But seeing Frank come in and within those first 10 games, I think we want to see a better defensive structure. We want to see that we're not conceding so many goals. We want to see the team just get a bit tighter at the back. So probably see some adaptations. I actually want to see Frank use a few different formations within those first 10 games, whether that's just in-game changing a formation or opting for different formations in different games. I just want to see that adaptation and the adaptability that he presents himself to be, because obviously at Brentford, we've seen him play a few different formations across the years over there. But with Tottenham, he's going to be tasked to play more on the front foot. So whether that's a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, I just want to see some of those. Within those first 10 games as well, I'd like to see a consistency amongst some players being used, because I think some of the problems that you have with a new manager when they come in, and we see this with Enzo Maresca at Chelsea, is he makes a lot of changes. And I don't feel like that helps when you've got a new manager trying to get used to this new system, just consistently changing that midfield duo, trio, however it's set up. I think if we are going to go ahead with, let's just say, a 4-2-3-1, let's maintain that midfield duo and see how it's actually going to work. Don't just take away from it too early into the season. But more than anything, going up against some of these teams we're going to go into in these first 10 games, I expect to just see us play some good football, attackingly look a bit more fluid going forward. Maybe let's see what Frank can get out of some of these younger players, whether that's Bergvall. Let's see him take those few steps forward. And then even Maddison, I'm going to be looking at what he can do with some of the current players like Maddison and Brennan Johnson, how they're going to be used. I'm really interested to see what he looks at. Well, basically what he looks at this current squad and if he's going to use these players differently. Because I think all of us can recognize likes of Brennan Johnson and Maddison could be utilized in different ways, but they were used however they were used under Ange. I think Frank may have a different view of that, and hopefully he can look to get more out of him. Because Brennan Johnson, we can all see where he thrives. It's arriving at the back post, it's arriving in the area, got some good movement, but he's not a great dribbler. You can't keep telling him to stay out on the touchline and try to dribble at his man. That's what Ange kept going wrong. So I need to see some of these changes that we didn't see last season from Frank, identifying some of the issues that we've all presented regarding these players. So obviously, first 10 games gives you a good period to evaluate the players, see where these players are at, and what you want to see, but also it gives you a good period to know what your best team potentially is going to be for the majority of the season.
Do you know what? I think as well as you made a great point, as well as new signings coming in, I am looking to see what he's going to get the best out of people. I think Maddison for me is definitely the one where I feel like he's really held him back. I feel like, if you've got a number 10, a guy who has had multiple seasons of getting 20 plus GA from the playmaker position, and then he spends most of his game floating out wide left or on the halfway line, it frustrates me. For me, the biggest thing is I want to see a shape. George. I want to see a shape. I want to see that Spurs know what to do when they lose the ball. I want to see that we hunt in packs. I want to see that we get back into shape when we lose the ball. I want to see that we actually look like a team that know how to transition from defence to midfield to attack, and vice versa. A lot of people, I think the key thing is I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying things like, I did see a comment I thought was quite interesting. It said, what was the point? Hang on, let me see if I can get it. Because I thought it was quite interesting. Where is it? So I can't seem to find it at the moment. But somebody said, basically, what was the point of getting rid of Ange if Thomas Frank's not going to be backed? But even if Thomas Frank isn't backed, and I use that term loosely, you're still going to see a more competent, better football team from Thomas Frank than you are from Ange, right? Isn't that half the battle rather than the signings of Frank versus the signings of Ange? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's where I've been at. I feel like a lot of people probably don't realize, but I know, forget rival fans, us Tottenham fans should know, big up to Queen Ellie, that they should know that the level of this team isn't at where it was at last season. Frank's going to take them a step forward into the level that they should be, but also could raise some of these players to their level as even higher than what many of us thought. So when I look at this, I'm just like, whether we don't need 7 or 8 signings or 6 or 7 signings. We just need some smart acquisitions that can add to the current team and then give Frank a good base to build from. And then maybe in January we can add a player or two if needed. But as long as we get the 6, the right winger, and then maybe some coverage at the back, I think he's got enough players there to work with to take Tottenham a step forward. Maybe the Champions League, we may not be competing at the level required and might not have the best performances over there. But in the Premier League, if we can maintain a good, consistent level where, we're going to be competing in those European places, then I think Frank will be in a good position with the team that we currently have.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, by the way, and in no shape or form does that mean I don't want to sign more players. I keep being told this, that, you've said he's a coach, we don't need to sign players. Why are those two things mutually exclusive? I want a coach that also gets new players, but can coach the older players as well. A few interesting comments that are flying around. I mean, I think just moving away from Spurs for 1 second, George, and I don't know your opinion on this, but I feel like a lot of Spurs fans are starting to say things in hope rather than expectation about Arsenal signing good players. So, for example, Dave A has said, is Gyökeres the new Núñez? And Gyökeres, only 60 million, can't be that good. George, is this copium? Is this, hang on, I'll tell you what, I've actually got it, George. Look, it's Tottenham copium. That is what this is. Somebody said there that Deji has said he'd rather have, I love Deji, he'd rather have Solanke than Gyökeres. I mean, look, this is shameless, right, George? This is a top strike.
You need to, when it's Deji, you need to look at Deji when he's saying things. You can tell when Deji's being serious or not, people.
Yeah, I love him.
I think that's definitely one of the things where Deji was just playing around. Me personally, I'm not going to lie, at this is the point of when I really starts to sink in, and it's like, yo, Arsenal are so far ahead of us right now. Like Gyökeres pushes them seriously into that Champions League race, title race. They're up there with the best teams in the world with Gyökeres as part of them. Like, as much as we can sit here and laugh at Arsenal being bottlers, being teams that don't get over the line, Gyökeres, quite frankly, is one of the players that could be the difference makers between them getting over the line. Some of the problems last season was them scoring goals in games. And like against like Fulham, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, they struggled to get goals. They're letting these teams keep clean sheets against them because they didn't have a proper striker. If you watch Gyökeres, you can see this guy's an absolute goal bagsman. Like, he literally finds the goal wherever. He's one of those players that love to battle with defenders. He loves to, lean up on a defender, do a little rough and tough, spin off a player. But one thing about him, he's really instinctive with everything that he does. Whether he knows when to, whether he's backing up onto the player and he needs to do a 1-2 and roll off the shoulder of him, he will do that. Or if he needs to pick it up, turn with the ball himself and run at them, he will do that. The one thing about him, he just knows how to get goals. And he's a problem, man. He's a huge, huge problem. And any Tottenham fan that think he's going to come in and score 15 goals in the league for them, you're losing your mind. He's going to bag I can see Gyökeres instantly being a 25-goal a season striker. Maybe not 25 in the league, but 25 goals across all competitions, if not 30 for them. No doubt about that. Like Arsenal create a lot of chances as it is. Putting a bagsman in front of all of their players just makes it a lot easier. It just makes it so much easier for them. And when you're looking at the potential link-up of him and Saka, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, man. Saka's a natural creator, and some people don't want to acknowledge that. But putting a proper striker next to him, you're going to see another player on his side of things too.
I'll tell you what worries me as well is I agree with your analysis there. Gyökeres for me is, I don't think there's many of them in the world. He's a natural finisher. When you see him 20, 30 yards from goal, his eyes light up and his first thought is, how can I hit the bottom corner? How can I rifle this into the top corner? We don't have that. And many clubs don't have that. So I do think a lot of Spurs fans are using copium, the whole, how will he do in the Premier League? Listen, the Premier League is nearly all foreign. So when we talk about how good can these players do, like everyone's buying, look at the goal scorers in the Premier League. Most of them are foreign. You add in Bukayo Saka. What if they get an Eze or a Rodrigo as well? I'm scared. I don't mind admitting. I think we are falling so far behind them. So far behind them. And look, the thing is, by the way, all of these things I'm hearing here is what I always hear when clubs buy players. I remember when Man City signed Erling Haaland, the copium from fans all over the Premier League that weren't Man City fans. But he's done it in Germany. And he's come over and set record after record after record. I feel like Gyökeres for me is what I hate, George, is this. Sorry, what I hate is, first of all, Gyökeres and Darwin Núñez, the only similarity in the two players is that they both played in Portugal. That's the basis of people's argument. Oh my God, what if he does a Núñez? Like, I don't get it. Listen, I think it's a great signing. I'm very, very jealous. And I think it does change the game for them.
And do you know what's funny about the Núñez stuff as well is Núñez actually only had one good year in Portuguese league. If people actually look into the Núñez stuff, is he had one good year where he scored about 25, 26 goals. The season before that, he scored like 7-8 goals. So you could already see that there's no comparison. Gyökeres has bagged goals for 2 seasons at 27, 28, 32, 30. He's scoring plenty of goals. And what he's doing there is he's gone to that league and people would expect that...
Look at the copium, George.
It's definitely copium, man. You need to see enough of the player, and you would see that his first touch or second touch isn't bad. It's really not. Like, he runs past players for fun, and like I said, he's 25 yards out from goal, and his eyes light up. He sees the goal. He's a natural finisher. But there's so many difference between him and the likes of Núñez and so on. He's just got that all-round part to his game, and even if you saw him in the Champions League last year, there was games against Arsenal and Man City. You just have to Sporting Lisbon get the ball up to him. He can do a lot all by himself. He actually is not one of those players that need to be created for. He can create all by himself. So that's where he's going to be real dangerous. The only questions I have with him is playing against low blocks, isn't it? Playing in the Premier League against low blocks, and you got two defenders marking you and staying tight to you could be a bit different. But I think he's one of those players that are going to find a solution. And with the way that Arsenal play, there's always going to be goals in there. So he may struggle against some low blocks in some games, but at the same time, he's still going to score plenty.
I'm going to give him 30 in all competitions.
Yeah.
I reckon he gets 30 goals. There's not many I look at, and when they get it in and around the box, I think, yeah, they're going to score goals. You know what we'll do in this country? If he hasn't scored 5 in his first 5, everyone will write him off and he's dreadful. But I just look at him. Everything about him oozes quality to me. And I'm jealous. I think a lot of what we do is copium, as I've said. A lot of what we do is copium. It's the sort of player right now. If Spurs were in talks with Gyökeres, George, how many of our fans right now would be going, no, I don't want him. He's a donkey. His first touch is terrible. It wouldn't be happening, would it?
Nah, people are just losing their mind. Like, if we were linked to Gyökeres, Spurs fans would be going mental. Like, oh, we're signing the best striker in the world. We've finally replaced Kane.
He's going to win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, we would be going mad about this, and I would too. So I don't even know why anyone would try to downplay this deal or downplay what Gyökeres is going to mean to Arsenal, because Arsenal are a very good creative side. It's not like they need much improvement to really be a competition for the Premier League. But with Man United and not Man United, with Liverpool and Man City making the signs that they've made, this is the type of player Arsenal need to really push them on. So it's real dangerous, man. And even when you hear things about them potentially getting Rodrigo, if they get Rodrigo and Gyökeres, bro, like what are we doing? Like where is our club at? Our neighbours are getting two of the biggest players in world football right now. We're struggling to get Kudus for 60 million from West Ham, bruv. It's a huge reality check.
Absolutely. I've just looked in his last 17 games in Europe. He's got 12 goals and 4 assists. So he's looking at basically a goal stroke assist every game in his let's look at, I mean, I do like the way we belittle all these other leagues. Oh, it's only Portugal. There's many players I'm taking from Porto, from Sporting Lisbon. You know what I mean? There's many players. I mean, last year he got 39 in 33 in the league. The year before that, 29 in 33. In the cups this year, he got 9 goals in 10 cup games in Portugal. I mean, I don't care what league you're in. When you're banging in goals at that volume, nearly 1 a game, you can score. And I'm genuinely jealous.
Yeah, I think everyone is. I generally think everyone is. And if you're not jealous, then you're just not watching football correct, man. Because there isn't. I've seen people saying in the chat, Solanke's nowhere near Gyökeres. They're similar in stature as well. They've got a similar build. That's about it. They're about the same height. They're skinny. They're lanky. That's it. But Solanke can't finish anywhere near Gyökeres. Anywhere near him.
Yeah, it's mad. But listen, we'll see on that front. I just find it funny. Like, our fans, we lose our mind over signing Solankes and signing Brennan Johnsons and signing Bergvals and Greys. And then when our rivals are signing proper players doing it across Europe, we go, oh, I'm not so sure about that as a signing. Football bias, I get it, but I like to try and keep things a little bit more level-headed. I remember when Isak came in, lots of people who haven't watched any of Real Sociedad, I remember, and who's this guy? What's he going there for? And now everyone in the world wants a bit of Alexander Isak. So it is what it is. Let's talk, George. The way it's set up at the moment, and I'd like to get the chat involved in this. Chelsea are buying. Arsenal buying. And when I say buying, these clubs it seems like they're constantly buying. Liverpool buying a lot. City buying a lot. Are you expecting a bit more of a title race this year? As opposed to Liverpool running away with it? And if so, are you expecting a 3-way title race with City, Liverpool and Arsenal?
Yeah, I think this might be one of the better title races in a long time, seeing 3 teams really go at it, competing. Though I'm not going to lie, I still have, in my head, I'm still thinking it's Man City. I think Man City could still run away with it. I think the difference between Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool, or I should say Man City and Liverpool between Arsenal, because Man City and Liverpool do so well to not lose games. You can look at them across the last 5 years. they've probably both lost up to about 20 games in 5 years in the Premier League. They don't lose many games. Like, whereas Arsenal, either they may not lose so many, but they draw a lot of games. They drop points on a lot of games. I could see Man City just cleaning up against the smaller sides, having some problems against the bigger teams, but still just having a very strong record. And the same for Liverpool. When you look at last season, against the smaller teams, they never struggle. They get the job done. They just know how to get goals. So I think Man City and Liverpool will do good on that front, whereas Arsenal always tend to struggle against the smaller sides. It's never the big teams that cause Arsenal problems. It's always the small teams. So if Arsenal can maintain consistency against those small teams, because I'm not too sure if this stat was correct, but I think I saw a stat saying they didn't win 3 games in a row for the whole of last season. They need to build up some consistency in those games, and then they can have a really strong run in for that league title. But it's going to be an interesting race, I can't lie, because Man City are still adding players. They've only just come back from the Club World Cup. They're going to improve. I think Liverpool may sign 1 or 2. Obviously, rest in peace to Jota, but with him no longer being there, they was already looking at signing a striker. They probably have to accelerate some talks for someone in that front. But then also Luis Diaz has been rumored to potentially be favouring a move to Barcelona as well. So Liverpool also still on the move and still will make some significant moves in the market. So depending on what Liverpool, Man City do, Arsenal may need to react and do some more, because I don't think Gyökeres will be enough. Like, he'll be good enough, but with what they've done already, on top of signing more players, that's not going to be enough to close the gap. So it could just be a City and Liverpool title race if Arsenal don't be seriously ambitious.
I think the funny thing as well, for as much as Man City are signing players, and I think they're making smart signings. You know, they're making smart. They're not spending £80 million on signings. They're signing 35 million Ait Nouri, 35 million Cherky, 35 million Reinders. It's got to be the Rodri factor, though, isn't it? Like,
yes.
I'm about to do something I hate, George. I absolutely hate it when people say, "Oh, it'll be like a new signing," but Rodri missing a whole year of football. He is the best player in the world on his day, right? Yeah. I say on his day, he was the Ballon d'Or winner. For me, he makes Spain tick. He makes Man City tick. Him coming back is absolutely huge. Keep him fit. They've got rid of a few of the older players. I can't see past them. I don't think anyone's going to run away with it. But I do think Man City now have got a massive squad full of lots of talent. And I do think that they will win it. That's just me. That's
yeah. No, I'm with you, Sav. I can't lie. I've got a feeling that Man City are going to get the job done. I just think that Man City have shown so many years that they've got that experience to just get over the line. And when they're really switched on, they switch on and win 20 games in a row. Like, there's no other team in the league that can do that. Now, Liverpool, obviously, last season showed that they can be strong, that they can compete. But I do have some questions regarding their defense, because they're going to have a whole new back line with Kirkes, with Frimpong. They're going to have to figure that out. As well as they may need to sign another centre-back, because Konate is injury prone. Well, he's not had injury prone. He's not had so many injuries last season, but he still has that. And then Gomez. And if they get Guehi, then you're looking, then they've improved massively. So, yeah, I think for me, Man City is just a step ahead of the rest, even without making some mad big signings. I think like that they can still be the team to beat. But Liverpool are definitely one to watch out for, with the potential, with how ambitious they're showing to be in this window. That's why it is, I'm saying, look out for them. Because, look, like I said, they could get Guehi, then they could go sign another winger, they could go sign another striker. And if they walk out like an TK or another, like, I don't think they need a bagsman striker. They need someone that can facilitate and someone that can, work with the team. Then they're going to be
their 25, 30 goal a season man isn't their striker. Yeah. It's their wide forward, isn't it? It's Mo Salah. But one thing I think that's going to be really interesting about Liverpool this year is Slot's rocked up, won the league when not many people would have had them down for winning the league. And he's done it with somebody else's team. He's done that with Jurgen Klopp's team. This year, we're going to see, George, this is going to be edging towards, still a lot of those players, but edging towards his team. Like you say, Frimpong, Wirtz, Kirkes, if Guehi comes in, if Ekatike, for example, goes in up front, it brings a whole different pressure.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, all right, cool. You did it with what Klopp built. Can you now do it with what you built? And I'm not saying it can't, just saying it's a different ball game. Arsenal are there. They're ready. For me, Arsenal have been ready to pounce for 3 years and have never taken that step to go from there to there. And that is second. This is over the line. But if they get Eze, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, they get the team's there. It's gelled. Their team doesn't need a complete overhaul. So I'm really excited for the title challenge. I know it won't involve us, but I'm excited because I thought last year was a really crap Premier League season for everyone, really, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was a poor season. I mean, especially for us, but for everyone. I think it was competitive, and I'd say that like it was a very competitive season for the mid-table teams and pushing on to the small top teams. So there wasn't a massive gap between them. But at the same time, like you said, I think it was a crap season. So this year you're looking at a higher quality Premier League. I think the difference between the top teams and the mid-level teams is going to grow a bit this season. You're going to see that that gap spread out because, like, see, Bournemouth sold a few of their players. A lot of these mid-level teams have lost a lot of their players. So I think, and they're going to lose more. You mean West Ham losing Kudus? You had Bremo leave, Brentford. Wolves leave, Cunha leave Wolves. All of the best players who are at the mid-level teams, barring Semenyo, has left their club. So I think there's going to be a bigger gap between the top 6 and then the rest of or I should say top 7 or 8 now because there's so many of us, but the top 7 and then the rest of the league, I think there'll be a bigger gap. So it should lead to a better Premier League season because when it is like that, it tends to be that way.
Matt, it's so my mate Matt. It is really interesting that all last season you told me that Tottenham Hotspur didn't have a top 10 squad. That was your excuse for Ange. Now suddenly we're going to sign enough quality to catch up with City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. I mean, look, for me, the way I look at this, George, if we bring this back to a Spurs point of view, before we talk about catching up Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, who are clearly the best 3 teams in the league, we've got to talk about catching up Villa and Newcastle, right? Like that for me is if I bring up the Premier League table, right? And I know this is from last season. This for me is where I think we need to be looking, and I think our fans, again, it's going to be unrealistic expectations. For me, we should be looking at that Newcastle, Villa, Nottingham Forest area of the table, the 5th, 6th, 7th, right? That's where I think we need to look before we even look to Chelsea, who, by the way, were 31 points above us. So when we're going, a couple of signings will catch up with Chelsea, it's like, okay, let's slow it down a little bit. Are we running before we can walk, George? Are we not realizing just how far we've fallen?
Do you know what? It's tough because even when I look at this, I'm like, this isn't even a strong point tally at like bloody 6th, 5th, and 7th. Like 66 points isn't that mad. And I think I've read up before that Brentford have got like 58 points or 60 points at their best in a Frank team. So when I'm looking at what Frank has done with Brentford at their highest to what he could potentially do with his Tottenham team, I'm looking at that and I'm like, Spurs could definitely get 66 points next year or 60 in and around that 60 to 70 points, but 66 to 70 points, because that's usually where we fall or where the top 6 falls at. We just need to see, like, again, similar to Arsenal and that, like, we need to have a strong show against the smaller sides. Like the whole bottom 10 last year, we were just losing against. Those are the teams that you need to have strong, because if you perform against those bottom side teams, let's say the bottom 9, you get wins against all of those teams, you've put yourself in a very strong position already, because then you're looking at, I don't know, like 56 points or something like that already. So you just need to make sure you beat all the teams you're supposed to beat. And then in some of the other bigger games, you pick up a win here and there. And then you put yourself in that position, which I think is very, very doable for Spurs. But it's like with the fixture schedule, with the injuries, having the right squad, that's where the problem could potentially lie with Spurs. So we need to make sure we're signing enough players to have the depth so we don't have the same injury issues as last year. But then apart from that, I do see us, like for me, I don't see why we shouldn't get into the top 6. Like the team we had is not a below top 8 team. Like that team right now is base squad wise not below top 8, with the manager and a few new signings, it should push into that top 6. That's the way I see it.
No, I agree. Listen, I said last season I think Spurs should finish 7th, not 17th. I forgot to put the 1 in front. But I look right now. I see Newcastle stronger than Spurs. I see Villa are stronger than Spurs. However, I don't look at any of those other clubs: Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, Palace, Everton, Wolves. I don't see any of them as being clubs that should be finishing above us, George. Now, the anomaly is going to be, and this is, I don't know where to begin with this football club I'm about to mention. The anomaly is going to be Man United, because this is going to be a Man United team that now Ruben Amorim's had them for long enough. Now he's going to have them for a summer to implement his style. He's got Cunha in, possibly, and Buemo. They're going to be playing 1 game a week. He's going to be getting rid of the likes of Sancho and Rashford and Garnacho and Anthony, etc. I don't know where to position them. If you were going to ask me right now, where are Man United going to be? I genuinely don't know. Are they a top 6 team, or are they not? I genuinely don't know. And I feel like that about Spurs as well, George. Both those clubs have really thrown a curveball with last season.
Yeah, I think with Man United, especially because Ruben Amorim, I feel like we've still not seen the best of Ruben Amorim. And I know I go on rival shows and I clown him all the time, because ultimately he's not proven to anyone that he is a good manager. His Man United stint and spells one of the worst spells we've ever seen from a manager, not just in Man United, but in the Premier League. It's been a very, very terrible spell. Now, I do actually rate him as a coach, and I think with a good, strong pre-season, you're going to see, again, the level of their team improve already. But on top of the players that they're looking at, the one thing I'll give to Man United is they're actually showing ambition to go get some top players. Like, they wanted Gyökeres, but they couldn't get him because he chose Arsenal. Now, if they go from having Højlund, Xerxes, and I don't know, Bruno, who was their front three last year, to go into Cunha and Bromo and a good striker, then
I think they'll get Vlahovic, by the way.
And that's what I mean. If they get a front three, bro, that is crazy front three. Like, you're looking at Man United as having one of the top front threes in the league. Like, and people aren't probably deep in how good that is, because Cunha and Buemo both scored like 15 to 20 goals last season. If you add that into Man United's team already, the level of their team jumps. But then you add another striker who's gonna facilitate for them, but also be a goal scorer. Man United are dangerous. Their problems are just making sure that Ruben Amorim can set them up with a good defensive structure, and their midfield is probably where they struggled last year. But Man United are going to be a problem next year. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's going to be a huge jump from like Tottenham and Man United. I think there's going to be a huge jump, but Man United, with the signings they're making, most definitely.
Yeah, I make you absolutely right. Don't get me wrong. I think Man U have got loads to do. I think Man U and Spurs are very similar. I think Man U and Spurs are very similar in a lot of ways. I think both have got deadwood to get rid of. Both desperately need more in attack. I think this is a huge moment for Man United. It's a pivotal moment as to whether or not they get Mbeumo. Because adding Cunha is good. Very good player. I think Cunha gives them an extra 18, 20 goals in all competitions. Adding Mbeumo, now you've got another 20 goals in all competitions. Yeah. So the difference. Now, if you add in a striker, it can almost paper over what you've got elsewhere on the pitch if you've got goal scorers. Because when I watched Man U last year, a little bit like us, they didn't fail to create. Their chance creation wasn't the problem. The problem was you were watching Garnacho or Højlund or Xerxes, people who aren't natural goal scorers. Yeah. Now if you've got Mbeumo, if you've got Cunha, if you get in a Vlahovic, I mean, imagine that. Imagine Vlahovic as the target man with Cunha and Mbeumo just floating off him. For me, that puts them up from 15th, 14th in the league to playing once a week. Now they're in that hunt for 5th, 6th, 7th, like us, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Truly believe that.
Yeah, Man United definitely a team to watch out for. And the problem for them is, for us and for everyone in the market, Man United can still attract players like Cunha and Mbeumo. And that's where it is. It's like, when you're seeing Man United still get these players in, it's like, this is why they're a problem. They're the biggest club in England, and it's showing with they're able to go, no matter where they're finished, 16th, 15th, still going to make these top signings, still going to spend the money because they have it. They're always going to be dangerous. So you can't write Man United off. It's just the one thing that's we've had going for us the last couple of years, the talent ID has been terrible. It looks like there's been a change on that side of things as of recent.
Yeah, because we would take Cunha and Mbuemo in a heartbeat, right? Right. And do you know the funny thing that gets me? I mean, fair play, what you just said there about Man United's pool. It always baffles me every year when fans go, I can't believe Man U can attract players, or why is that player going to Man U? When are we going to learn? Man U have pull. It doesn't matter if they finished 17th or 1st. Man United are Man United. They have that history. They have the pull. They have one of the biggest marketing spends in the world. And look how many thousands and millions of kids grew up with Man United shirts across the world supporting Man United. So I genuinely think that I'm genuinely baffled when people go, oh my God, we're more attractive than Man U. And I'm like, oh, I don't think we are. I just don't think we are. But last thing, because I know you probably need to shoot in a minute. I'll let you go. I'll probably carry on for a bit. But by the way, I'm not kicking you off. Feel free.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no, 2:30. I'm gonna jump out. I've got some things to do. Yeah. But that's fine.
Last question I'll ask you then. The bottom three. The bottom three, is it going to be the same three that have come up that have gone down? Because the way I look at it is this, George. I'll show that table again. Bear with me. I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. The way I look at this is I look at the table from 9th down to 17th. No point looking at the bottom three. They've gone.
Yeah.
And other than, well, realistically, I don't look at any of these teams and go,
teams. They're big teams, man.
Yeah.
All strong teams.
Spurs won't be there next year. Man United won't be there. West Ham, I should think West Ham have got enough. Wolves, I like Vitor Pereira. I don't see him getting relegated. Everton, Moyes. Looks like he's making some smart signings and Moyes doesn't get relegated. Palace are too good. Fulham, Brentford, but I don't know. Sorry. That was very unprofessional. I don't know where that suddenly come from. I can't see who's going to go down for the three that have come up to stay up. Does that make sense? I can't see who.
No, I get what you mean. I think I've got a feeling 2 will go down, one will stay up. I've got potentially Burnley staying up. Burnley look like they're making some decent moves. Obviously, Scott Parker being manager. You seen last year he had a very strong season in the Championship and their defensive structure was in place. Now, obviously, the biggest problem that we've found with teams like Burnley, Scott Parker and so on bringing teams up is they keep trying to play this attractive style of football in the Premier League, not realizing you come to the Premier League, you need to do what Thomas Frank done. You adapt, you get very solid at the back, and you try and win games with your defensive structure. Now, I've questioned, I think Vitor Pereira is a good manager, but Wolves, with the loss of Cunha, I think last season, when you look at their team without Cunha, he won a lot of games for them. I think they would have been at around 32, 33 points without Cunha, maybe even 30. They'd have been floating just above the relegation. So I think they could potentially still lose more players. And if they do, obviously Aït Nouri's gone out as well. I'm looking at Wolves as being one of the weaker links. West Ham, I'm not going to lie. I think West Ham could be in that race as well. West Ham are really struggling now. Graham Potter's a good manager and a good coach who could potentially lift some of these players' performances. But within the first 6 months of his job at West Ham, he's not shown to have that ability. So some questions regarding there. And also, they haven't spent anything as of yet. They're waiting for someone to buy Kudus before they can spend. So there's only Wolves and West Ham are the two teams in that bottom 9, like you said, who I'd actually look at being, they've seriously been weak. Bournemouth as well, they've been seriously weakened, but I think Areola is a good coach. So I don't think they're going to be in any danger of being relegated. So yeah, definitely 2 out of 3 of the teams that are coming up are guaranteed to go down. I think 1 may stay in the Premier League. It's been a while since that's happened though.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be interesting. I mean, lots of people talking about Brentford possibly without Frank, if they lose Mbuemo. I think if they don't lose anyone else, if Mbuemo stays, I think they'll be absolutely fine. I also think they're too organised to go down for me. I think they're a very organised team. They've got people like Visser, like Sharda, like Damsgaard. If they don't lose those guys, I think they've got enough. But I just think it's going to be very interesting. Burnley coming up. Burnley are very well organised. They had the best defence in the country last year, if I'm not wrong. But that defence isn't going to be as solid in the Premier League. And I look at Burnley going forward and go, where are your goals coming from? Because I think that's a worry. Leeds, I don't know a lot about some of the players they're signing. So listen, I just thought it was interesting, and we'll see. But one thing for sure, I don't think we're going to see Spurs and Man United in that bottom half next year. I just don't.
No, no doubt. And like I said there with Burnley, I don't know if the Kyle Walker move was a big one. I'm not gonna lie, that one surprised me. I rate Kyle Walker because he could have done a big move like he did with AC Milan. He could have went to a bigger European club, but he's opted to stay in England and battle it out with a relegation team. I rate that. But they are signing a lot of players. I think Burnley have already made like 5 or 6 signings. Leeds have already made a few. That's where some of these clubs go wrong, is they sign way too many players and have to basically embed a whole new team into the Premier League, which is a huge issue.
Exactly. Loads of these clubs do this, don't they? They come up and they go, right, all the players that have got us up, scrap them all, bring in. And the players they're bringing in are relatively unknown. But listen, look, George, I know you need to go, so I'll stay on for a bit, but I want to say thank you very much. Before you go, can one of my mods right now please put George's link into the channel? And we've got over 500 in here, and I'd like to think the hospitality would get a 5th of those, even a 10th of those, to go over and smash that button and subscribe. He's grafting, he's working hard, he's a great content creator, so please smash that button. And we're only 19 subscribers away. 19 from 19,000, believe it or not. They're doing the old 19.
That done, people, man. 19 subscribers. That's a huge accomplishment. I don't think people realize 19,000 is a lot. It's a lot of subscribers. Almost at that 20k. Definitely there before the season starts. So now, people, make sure you smash that like, but also subscribe to Savva. I'm 2 away from 2,750. So if 2 of you go over there, we get to 2,750, and we're 250 away from our next target. So big up for everyone for this show, and it's been a good one.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to stay, guys, and I'll go to your comments. George, thank you very much. Please get over there, subscribe to George, and next week I'll be on George's channel. So take care, my man, and I'll see you later. Take care, buddy. Big up to each and every one of you. Daniela, you crack me up. Honestly, I don't think you understand, Daniela, when you keep saying how bad our squad is. I don't think you and many others understand that our squad was made to look a lot worse than it was by Ange having no tactics. We will not be in the bottom half of the table again this year. Thomas Frank is far too good a manager and a coach to allow that to happen. I think you've got to realise that. When I see the comments you put in every day, you're talking as though we've still got Angepostecoglou. So please, can we let's stop doing this. Big up to you guys. Let me get to some comments. I like going through the comments, and before people complain, that's what I do. I go to good comments. I call out bad comments. And what we will also do is this. We will find out to checking for trolls. So let's see if we find any along our route. Where are we? Where are we? Jackson Kyle Walker's legs have gone. I would say that his legs are not what they were, but compared to most other players, I wouldn't say they're gone. He's not the 29, 28-year-old rapid Kyle Walker, but he's still quicker than most footballers. Playful Spurs said, I think the table will be split into 3 sections. Arsenal, Liverpool and City fight for the title, but can see 6 in a relegation scrap. It's only my opinion. I'm interested to see who those other 3 will be. Outside of Burnley, Leeds and Sunderland, I'm looking at those other clubs, and yeah, you've got to take into account European football for the likes of Palace, for the likes of Forest, but I don't think that drops them down far enough to get relegated, although stranger things have happened. Big up to you, Playful Spurs. Big up to Paul Watkins, who's gifted a Football Heritage TV membership, and I believe that went to Seattle. So big up to you, Seattle, and keep smashing the subscribe button, guys. 19 away. Come on, you tight gits. I'm putting that link in right now. Big up to you, Paul. And You've been a member for 3 months now. Says, big up, fellas. Smash the likes, people. Savva deserves it. Works bloody hard. I've got loads coming up for you guys, by the way. I've got loads coming up for you guys in the next few days. As I said, today we've got, I'll have a video coming out later this afternoon about Takai. Then 10 p.m. we've got the emergency Spurs meeting. I like the emergency meeting. Tomorrow we've got the 10 a.m. show, followed by a members only show at 4 p.m. Savva and Iggy ask us anything. Iggy filling in this week for Lubo is at 5 p.m. And then at 8 p.m. we'll be watching PSG v Real Madrid. Then on Thursday we've got the morning show, followed by a fan call-in show early evening. And then on Friday we have got the morning show, followed by a live transfer show in the afternoon. So lots going on for you. So yeah, listen, hopefully it's appreciated, but big up to you, Paul. Really do appreciate that. Let's go to some comments, shall we? VCats, big up to you. A channel member said Newcastle sign Elanga and Spurs load that valise. Nothing more to say. Yeah, I do think though that in isolation, those two things haven't really got anything to do with each other, right? I know we want to do this a lot, but those two things really don't have anything to do with each other. But big up to you. Christopher said Spurs will be much better in the league next season. I guarantee that. Absolutely. Honestly, I've said it over and over and over again. For all of those that love Dange, Tottenham with a proper manager last year would not have been in the bottom half of the table in any way, shape or form. It's what happens when you have a shit manager. And clip this. If we get to the end of the next season and we're in the bottom half, I'm in the mud. But I don't think we will be. Ekatike in talks with Liverpool last time I heard. Yeah, I like Ekatike. 69 million. Does he grab enough goals for that money? I don't know. I think that he works in a certain system. I think he'll go to someone bigger than us. He's got a bit of a reputation growing. I can't see this being a Spurs signing in any way, shape or form. If we go in for him, I'll stand corrected. I just can't say it at all. Spurs fans showing a lot of chest. The meltdown we won for Spurs, and I'll be here for it. No idea what chest anyone is showing, Mick. Who's showing chest? Tell me. Who in the chat is showing chest? Let me know. Diggs has said, just had it pop up. Valise is going on loan. Yes. So the news has been that Alejo Valise is joining Rosario Central on loan with no obligation or option to buy. Let's have a look. Should we see what Spurs have actually said? Here you go. Let's bring it up on the screen. It's really not a lot to show, but I will bring it up. Here we go. Present, share screen. There we go. So Rosario loan for, can you see that? Yeah. Rosario loan for Valise. Alejo Valise has joined Rosario Central on loan for the 25-26 campaign. Having joined us from the Primera Division side in August 2023, Alejo has made 8 senior appearances in our colours, scoring once. The 21-year-old forward has previously spent time on loan at La Liga with Sevilla and Espanyol. Again, I think it just goes to show that it was another lazy signing, wasn't it? Another young, lazy signing where no fault for me had gone into it. And now we're at a stage where apparently we can't sell him, so we're just loaning him out. Phil Coys, yeah, good fun. Always good fun working with those guys over there at the Sun Sport, part of News UK and TalkSport. But yeah, it will be out in a few weeks. And you'll see it then. Daniela said, not salty, just don't agree with the crap said about my club at the end of last season. Our form was improving. Yours was not. Sure, but yeah, we had a really, really, really crap manager. We had a really, really, really crap manager. So I don't know what we're trying to get out of that one. Ruben has said Kudus, Douglas Luiz and Nathan Ake. What a sum of that would be. No links to Ake. Just think he's the best Davies replacement. I'd love a Nathan Ake. I think the one thing you've got to watch out for him is injuries. top player, though. Really, really, really good defender, Nathan Ake. Goes under the radar, doesn't get the praise he deserves. I'd love, listen, if you said to me we're going to sign those 3 this window, I'm all over that. I'm absolutely all over that, Ruben. By the way, I'm also all over more likes. Only 237 likes has been really, really poor. We've also done a poll today where we've had 503 votes. How can 503 people vote but not like? Was Takai, is he for the Spurs first team squad or sent out on loan? The options were first team starter, first team backup, or loan. First team starter, 14% of 500 said that. First team backup is at 54%, so is the favourite, and a loan at 32%. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens with Takai. Let me know in the chat right now. I mean, is he being bought in for the first team? Is he going to go out on loan? We'll see. We'll see, won't we? Burnley, they scored 69, conceded only 16 as they work hard as a unit and they move the ball well. Yeah, going to be very different in the Premier League though, right? It's going to be very, very different. I just don't know they've got the goals to stay up. We'll see. We'll see. I've got nothing against them if they want to do that, but we'll see. Christopher said, so true, Ellie. Burnley are a good side. Need to add more to the forward line. Longstaff going to Leeds for 10 million. He could bulk up our midfield and that experience. No, thank you. No, I don't know why we would want Longstaff. I think he's a decent footballer, but really, not for me. I think there's a reason he's going to Leeds. Danny, I remember it very, very well. I remember it very well. We signed him and everyone just went, absolutely, Matt. We do it with everyone, don't we? We do it with every kid we sign rather than waiting to see how they do. Like with Takai, he could be dreadful or he could be the next big thing. I'll wait and see and watch him play. And we'll see, right? The internet vegetable said the fact we were so bad and still won a major trophy shows you the squad is better than the league table suggests. True. It also shows you we had a very, very easy run to the final. That's what I think it showed you as well. Leon said, imagine Isak, Gordon and Alanga against Ange's. Oh, my gosh. Well, thankfully, we won't have to watch Ange's high line anymore. And that leaves me going to sleep at night feeling very, very, very happy. Where are we? Where are we? AZ Spurs. Big up to you, my friend. Hope you're well. So we need a winger and a 10, stroke 10, a 6 if Biss leaves. Some homegrown would be nice. I'm telling you, I think that we will bring in a midfielder. I do think we will bring in a midfielder. I do think that somebody like Basuma could be on his way out. We'll see. It's a long window. It's a long window. We're going to see. I think a lot of stuff will be done at the end. Again, Matt, I tell you what, go just bugger off. What a stupid thing to say. What's the difference between McGinn and Longstaff? I mean, does anyone else in my chat want to answer, Matt? Matt, when people get so frustrated with you and call you a troll, look at the state of this. Look at the state of that comment. There are levels between these two players. One is a sub player for Newcastle United. The other is the captain of a team that's just got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. What are you doing here? What are you doing here in any way, shape, or form? You just say the most ridiculous shit. Stop it, Matt. I'm getting really bored of you, to be honest. Where are we? Elliot said the other leagues are so disrespected and so many of the world's best players came from those leagues. Just prem bias. It's just silly. I completely agree. What makes me laugh is when it's a question, right? When it's a player we want, we don't seem to care. When it's a player that other clubs are buying, I mean, look out, Ellie. Look how people are putting down Gyökeres. It's unbelievable. Our fan base is just so full of copium. so honestly, isn't he? I try my best to protect him at times, but it's just absolutely dumb take after dumb take. It's not even, Paul, it's not even an opinion, really, is it? Longstaff is a player that sits on Newcastle's bench. Yeah, John McGinn is Aston Villa's captain. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Matt, you just say stupid shit. Matt, come on right now. You don't need your camera. Come on, join me right now. Me and you. Me and you, Matt. Let everybody watch. Matt will shit himself now. Come on now. And you tell me what the difference is between John McGinn and Longstaff. It's utterly, utterly madness. Phil, he's mad. This Matt character is just mental. Honestly, I know what he does, Phil. If I say it's Tuesday, he says it's Wednesday. If I like a player, he doesn't. Yeah, it's just it's the way it is. If I say a transfer's hard, he says it's easy to do. I think everyone's seen him do this, and I've given him chance after chance after chance. But Matt, you've got to come on, explain yourself, because I would love to know how your thought process has possibly put Longstaff and John McGinn in the same bracket. It's just utterly, utterly shambolic. Let's see if he comes on. What do we reckon? Do we reckon Matt will come on? Don't need to show your camera. I'd take this bloke all day long. By the way, let's be honest. There's a reason, right? There's a reason that Longstaff is going to Leeds, right? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at these. I'm just going to look at both players. So let's look at Longstaff. Longstaff, right? So Sean Longstaff, 27 years of age. He's nearly 28. Can't hold down a regular place in the team. I don't know what we're doing here, right? John McGinn. I can't believe how much this guy is absolute disrespect as well. John McGinn is 30, nearly 31, and he is Aston Villa's captain and plays every week. Like, I don't know. Matt, please just go away. I'm going to... Right, I tell you what, if you don't come on right now, I'm blocking you for good. There you go. Come on right now, because you're getting stupid. It's just getting absolutely ridiculous now, the way you're trying to... I take him all day long, AZ Spurs. I take him all day long. James T, I can only ask guests if they don't want to come on. I can only ask so many people, my man. I can only ask so many people. Ellie was on Friday night as well. Ellie's female. I'm not sure what you're trying to get out of that statement. It just crazy. Matt tells Savva to show ambition, but once Longstaff, he cracks me up. The funny thing is, yesterday when he asked him, when I said to him, go on then, he told me, oh, I don't have any ambition. I said, okay, give me 5 realistic signings that you'd want. And there were 5 realistic signings that I'd want. He is just ridiculous. Kenneth, hey Savva, when you're in this mood, you remind me about the actor Tom Hardy. Go, I'll take it. That's it, Archer. Absolutely. Let's see this utter troll. I as I've said all along, I think he's a troll. I've said he's a troll because he just chats so much shit. Like, I could literally say this is a can of Coke, right? He will find a way to tell me it's not. He's that sort of person. He spent all year crying and pining after Angepostecoglou, crying and pining after him, saying the defeats don't matter. The defeats don't matter. Now, all of a sudden, we can finish top 4. Like, it's mad. Listen, there's no rage bait. I mean, we've got to grow up there a little bit, Elijah. There's no rage bait. Just let's see. Let's see. I don't know if there are many female Spurs creators, to be honest. I don't know. We're not blessed with loads and loads of creators in the Spurs space, my man. It's really, nearly every game last year, Reezy and Matt saying today's game doesn't matter if we lose. Nearly every game doesn't matter if we lose this game. Alice loves football. Yeah, I mean, I don't know Alice at all. I don't know Alice. She's a United creator as well. I mean, we could try and get her on. I don't know. There would have to be a reason. I don't know her. But it is what it is. Absolutely, Dan. He's just a troll. He's shown everyone. And right now, I'm going to give him 3 or 4 minutes to come on. And if not, I'm just going to block his accounts when I see him now, because he just says stupid shit. He can try and rage bait. I'm not raged by it. I just find it silly. Here we go. Send the link. Here we go. Right, here we go. Matt, come on then. There's the link. Yeah, Holly's been on before. Holly's a great content creator. Holly's a great content creator. James, you don't tell me what to do on my channel. Cheers, thank you. Lots of people have always got advice. Don't do this. Ignore this. Get your own channels. It's that simple. Get your own channels. Matt, let's see you. Let's see you. Come on. I want to hear this. I want to hear these. I want him to tell me as well why all of these deals are very easy to do. I want to hear these deals as to why Eze is an easy deal to do. Yeah? Why Mbuemo is an easy deal to do. That's what I want to see. We'll give him a few minutes, but he does this all the time. He always says he's going to rock up, and then we never see him. By the way, guys and girls, please do keep subscribing. We are, as I said, we are 19 away. 19. Big up. Ellie said, I'm here, I'm female, and I'm championing Savva's show. We don't agree all the time. That's what makes it great. I used to be on with Kate a lot, but I do like the banter with Savva. Yeah, Kate, come on my show. We've had Kate on the show, Holly Hotspurs on the show. We've had Ellie on the show. Shivani used to come on the show. So it is what it is. Actually, I agree with you. I think Matt would get more respect if he comes on, tells me coherently about my opinions. Let's see. I'm not going to sit around all day because I do have to get to the vets in a little bit. Matt, the link is here. You press on that button. It's that simple. There you go. See this? You just click on that and it brings you onto the screen. I have to bring you onto the screen, but come on. By the way, I always get people going, oh, you should have this person on your channel and this person. It's not always that simple. Like, you know, it's not always that simple. I can only ask people if I know them. We'll take it from there. Ian Parker said, supporting Spurs is like owning a kettle that never boils, full of promise, still waiting for the magic. Love it. Matt in a phone jack. I used to love Phone Jacker and Face Jacker. I used to love that show. Internet Providings. Yeah, sure. Well, when I do the call-in show, come in. At the moment, I'm just seeing if Matt is going to finally come on. I want to hear his rationale as to why these signings are so simple, as to why me talking common sense doesn't float his boat, but yet he's still here every day. Let's see. Itchy, not scratchy. I said, two players I'd love to sign. I think we can actually get Kubo and Oyarzabal. Kubo has a 50 million release clause, and Oyarzabal has only 2 years left on his deal. Again, I think it all depends. You know, does the manager want Kubo? Does the manager want Oyarzabal? Do they want to go to the Premier League? I don't disagree with you. I'd take both of them at Tottenham Hotspur for sure. I'd take both of them for sure. But, you know, we can... oh, Matt is here. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Matt? Matt, are you there?
Hello?
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 Hello, Matt. You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. So talk to me, Matt. You're here every day. Yeah?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I've got some noise in the background.
Okay, turn. If you got the show on in the background anywhere.
Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Hello?
Hello. Right. Can you hear me now, Matt? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't sound worried. Don't sound nervous. It's okay. This is just football chat. Nothing more, nothing less. Just relax. And you just asked a question about Longstaff and McGinn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, I am going to need more than one word answers out of you, just so you know. I granted if you are a bit nervous, but I do need more than one word answers, or it doesn't make for very good YouTube.
You know, I don't really want to speak about Longstaff and them again. You know.
When you say again,
I'd rather speak about Spurs.
Okay, but you put him in the chat.
Yeah, but I mean, we disagree with quite a lot, you know.
I understand, but you literally just put in the chat about why don't we get Longstaff? He's the same as McGinn. Like I'm not really understanding where you're coming from with that. He's gone. He's gone. He's dropped out. He's dropped out. We nearly got there. We nearly got there. We nearly got there. We got a few sentences and then he's gone. No, I didn't kick him. Look, I've not, my hands are here. They're not on the mouse. We nearly got him. We nearly got him. But okay, he said he's coming back. We'll get him on. We'll get him back on. Where is he? Where is he? But everyone, when Matt does come on, I don't want anything bad said about him, because a lot of people, a lot of people won't ever come on. So this is going to be very interesting to see if he does come back on. And I want him to talk to me about all the things he's accused me of. Right, Matt, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, my man. I'm good. So, Matt, talk to me. All I've seen you put throughout this show today is you're mocking me with the whole, oh, this isn't Football Manager, because I always say it's not Football Manager.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think it is Football Manager getting deals done?
Well, I don't really understand why every player that I suggest you seem to always object to, mate.
Can you get okay? Tell you what, you give me an example, and we'll debate why I think it can be done, it can't be done, or whether it's a difficult deal. Give me an example of a player.
Okay, so for example, when I've said Bastoni,
yeah,
why can't we get Bastoni?
I'll tell you what, because it's not fair for me to go first because I do this for a living. You tell me, give me 3 to 5 reasons why Bastoni would join Tottenham Hotspur, and then I'll tell you why he won't.
Okay. First one, big money. Second one, London.
Big money, big money in terms of wages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second one, London.
Right.
London is an attraction.
Okay.
Third one is it's a big club.
Okay. Tottenham being the big club, right?
Yeah. Fourth one, Champions League football.
Okay.
So that's 4 reasons, mate.
Okay. So can I just ask? First of all, Alessandro Bastoni is on big money at Inter Milan, right? Would you agree with me?
Yeah, but we can pay more.
Hang on. That's not what I asked. I just said, do you agree with me that he's on big money?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much he's on?
No.
Okay. So Alessandro Bastoni is on 195,000 euros per week. Okay. So let me just.
That's maybe about 150.
Hang on. I'll get it. 195,000 euros in pounds.
160.
So it's 169,000 pounds per week he's on at Inter Milan. Right?
Yeah.
Now, let's look at the size of the two football clubs. Who's a bigger football club, Inter Milan or Tottenham Hotspur?
Inter Milan.
Okay, so straight away, you said he's on big. We can offer him big money. He's on big money. You said we're a big football club. He's at a bigger football club. Who wins more trophies, Tottenham or Inter Milan?
Inter Milan.
Okay. What's his boyhood club?
Inter Milan.
Right. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Okay.
Who did he turn down 2 to 3 years ago?
I'm not sure.
Well, the answer is Tottenham Hotspur. He said he did not want to come to us. So, Matt, did we put the money down though? We didn't. No, Matt. Do you know what? This is what I find staggering, right, Matt? You're in my show every day, and I explain to people how transfers work every day.
Okay, can I ask you a question, please?
Hang on. Let me just finish my sentence, right?
Okay.
And every day, whatever is explained, people come back with the answer of, did we put down the money? You do realize, Matt, there is a huge difference between
people in the chat. Why are people in the chat taking the mick out of my voice, saying that I sound young?
No, I don't think that's taking the mick out.
Matt, I'm in my 20s.
Okay, Matt, how old are you? I'm
25.
Okay, Matt's 25. Cool. Everybody, it don't matter. Matt's 25. I'm 42.
Just because my voice sounds a bit, you don't need to judge.
Matt, listen. Matt, don't listen. My advice, don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it. Some people are saying you've got a very soothing voice. It's not an insult, my man.
Okay.
And don't ever, here's my advice to you, don't ever take anyone saying anything is young as a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with being told they look wrong.
I thought they just might be trying to patronize me.
No. Don't worry about it, right?
Okay.
Look, so I'm asking you this question. You do understand there's a huge difference between a player agreeing that he would join a club and Spurs putting down the money for said player. You do understand that, right?
Yeah.
So if you understand that, why is your answer to everything just put the money down?
Okay, because I think that a lot of the time you come up with excuses
or reasons.
You come up with caveats to why we can't do something. Sure. And today is an example of Newcastle putting the money down and getting a player. So
sure,
I don't understand why we can't do that.
Player, is he? Alanga's not a top player that's wanted by everyone. Alanga's not coming from a massive football club. You know, if you're gonna
Newcastle are a big club. I mean, Forest are a big club historically.
Yeah, I mean, but again, Matt, think about it.
You say that they're bigger than us, don't you?
Who?
Haven't you said that Forest are bigger than Spurs?
No, not in any way,
shape, or form. Because of their European pedigree?
No, you're making that one up, my man. That's nothing that I've said.
Okay.
Right? So, Matt, I asked you to give me an example of a player. You went Bastoni, right?
I can give you some more.
No, hang on. We'll get there in Matt. Just one thing at a time, right?
Okay.
You went to Bastoni. Then you used an example against it of Alanga. Now, Alanga's playing for a smaller club than the one he's joining, right?
Yeah.
Newcastle were bigger than Nottingham Forest in recent decades, right? Yeah. And that's not a difficult deal to do.
So why can't we get Eze? We're bigger than Palace.
I agree we're bigger than Palace. Now have a think. Name me 2 reasons we might not be getting Eze.
Well, you're going to say Arsenal, aren't you?
But hang on. No, Matt, just so you know how our conversation works, right? Don't tell me what I'm gonna say.
You're trying to catch me out.
No, Matt, I've just asked you a simple question, right? I've asked a simple question. Give me 2 reasons why Spurs might not get Eze. I'm not saying we 100% won't, but give me a couple of reasons why we might not get him.
Arsenal.
Right. Okay. Arsenal could be one. Yeah, sure.
I think, to be honest, that's the only reason I can think of.
Okay. So if Arsenal are in for him,
yeah,
right, and he has told Spurs, let's just hypothetically, he has told Spurs representatives that he wants to sign for Arsenal. If Arsenal get him and we don't, isn't that a bloody good reason why we didn't get him?
But how do you know he said that?
I didn't say. I said hypothetically.
Yeah, but we can't go off hypotheticals.
But all of these are hypotheticals because you can't go off anything directly. The difference is we go, why can't we get Eze? Have you ever thought?
Can I ask a question?
Again, maybe Thomas Frank doesn't want Eze. Maybe Eze
How
doesn't
do you
want.
know that?
Matt, listen. Listen to the words I'm using. Right? I'm using words like maybe. I didn't say.
Okay, but why don't you say maybe Thomas Frank does want Eze? Why do you say maybe he doesn't want Eze?
Listen, if you listen and stop interrupting me, you'll hear what I'm saying. Wow, Savva the dog killer. See, you think you've got it bad, Matt. People talking about your voice. I'm getting called a dog killer here.
Well, yeah, mate, you just got to ignore those people, you know?
It's all right. So I'm blocking them. I'm blocking them. Don't worry. I just thought it was interesting. Dog killer. Lovely. I mean, that's my baby that died right there. Listen to the questions I'm asking. They've all got words in there, which are hypotheticals. Maybe Frank doesn't want Eze. Maybe Eze doesn't want Spurs. Maybe Eze wants Arsenal. Maybe Eze stays at Palace.
Okay, Savva, please, can I just say quickly? Yeah? This is my problem with you. Why is it always pessimistic? Why is it no, but it is. Can I explain? Because why is it maybe Eze doesn't want Spurs? Maybe Frank doesn't want Eze. Why is it never maybe Frank does want Eze? Maybe Eze does want Spurs. Why do you never come with that? No,
you're not listening. You're not listening to the wording. So when I've said maybe, listen, there's maybe Eze does want Spurs.
Exactly.
Maybe Eze does. Maybe Frank does want him. But then you have to ask yourself, why then? If Frank wants Eze, right, and Eze wants Spurs, why have they not put in a bid? Because Kudus wants Tottenham.
Arsenal haven't put in a bid.
Hang on. Frank clearly wants Tottenham, right? Frank clearly wants Kudus. The clubs are talking. It's not rocket science to work that out. So why do you think maybe there's going to be a bid later on for Eze? I don't know. I'm not saying we can't 100% get him. What I do, Matt, that you don't like is I add in possibilities which aren't always pie in the sky.
No, mate, you always add caveats and excuses. That's what you do. Respectfully.
Matt, you can say respectfully. The difference between me and you, Matt, is I understand that not everything is rosy and sunshine in this world.
Okay, can I ask you a question now, please?
If you stop cutting me off, you can, okay. Yeah, but you got to let me talk, mate.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
You keep cutting me off or I'm answering you. Sorry. Yeah? What I do is when people turn around like you and go, why haven't we bid for Eze? I turn around and I try and add a little bit of realism and go, okay, cool. But we could do that with any footballer. Why haven't we bid for Mbuemo? Why haven't we bid for Luis Diaz? Why haven't we? We could all do this all day long, Matt. The problem is there must be a reason why a bid has not gone in for certain players, right? Surely you agree with that.
So why have Arsenal not bid for Eze?
Why have Arsenal not bid for Eze?
Yeah.
Maybe. And again, I don't know. Maybe they're not going to. Maybe they're going to now once they wrap up the Gyökeres deal. Maybe they're in talks with the player behind the scenes. A lot of maybes. Maybe he stays at Palace. You ever thought about that?
Yeah, maybe. But, okay. So the question I wanted to ask you was why a few years ago, Arsenal were linked to Kudus from Ajax. Arsenal were heavily interested in him. Fabrizio Romano had reported on it. But West Ham ended up getting Kudus over Arsenal. Do you know the reason why? Because West Ham put the money down. That's why, and Arsenal didn't. So Matt, so
what you've done there, what you've done there is you've pretended you know what's happened, and that's why. That's why. No, Matt, you don't know what happened, right? You've got to remember, Matt, right? And this is the thing. This is what I always say. Please remember, I've worked for 2 Premier League football clubs. This is why when fans like you tell me, this is what happened, this is how easy it is, this is what you do, this is not what happens, this is not what you do, and this is not how easy it is, right? I've worked in the industry, my man, right?
Yeah.
For all you know, listen, let's be fair. Fabrizio Romano can turn around and tell us, right? Spurs are interested. I'm just going to chuck names out there. Spurs are interested in Alexis McAllister of Liverpool, right? Spurs are interested in Lavia of Chelsea. You do realise the difference between the word interested and actively bidding. You do realise there's two massive different things there. So if Spurs are interested right now in Eze, let's use Eze again. Things might happen differently. Somebody might suddenly become available we didn't think was, and we go, actually, yeah, we need that more than Eze. So we'll park our interest for a minute because that funds there could go over here. That makes more sense for the squad building. But what you're doing is assuming that every time somebody says that a player, that Spurs are interested in a player or Arsenal are interested in a player, that automatically means a bid will go in and a deal will get done. You do know that's not how football works.
No, mate. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
that's exactly what you're saying.
No. What I'm saying is that I was seeing that Arsenal were heavily linked with Kudus,
sure,
right?
Sure.
However, they probably were not willing to pay what West Ham were willing to pay.
You've got no way of knowing that.
Yeah, we don't know that, but the same way you don't know that Gay won't go to Arsenal over Liverpool, but you always say that.
But Matt,
you
again,
can't use an argument for me, but not for yourself, mate. That's not fair.
Listen to the difference in the arguments, Matt. Listen to the difference in the arguments.
Okay.
Okay. So I just want to clarify, just so everyone's got the full picture here. Is your argument, let's use Guehi now, is your argument that if Tottenham right now, we know that Guehi is in talks with Liverpool, right? We know that, right? Everyone said it. Or the Ornsteins and the Romanos have said that the two camps are talking, right? Okay. When the camps are talking, something's happening, right? That's pretty much common sense, right? Do we agree with that, Matt?
Okay, but can I just, before you continue, but using the logic that you used with me and Kudus, so if Liverpool don't bid for Gay, then surely they may not have been interested, right?
No, listen, you're not listening to what I say, man.
No, I am, mate. I'm just, you told me before.
You're not. There could be moving parts, but at the moment, Liverpool are going to bid for, don't worry, Liverpool are bidding for Guehi, mate. Yeah,
okay, I'll hold you to that, mate.
Okay, cool. Hold me to that. The only way they don't bid for Guehi is if a better option comes up or somebody becomes available and they go, actually, let's move this to here. But for purpose of this conversation, what you keep telling me, right, is just put the money down. So in a world, let's assume right now, what is it, the 8th of July? If Tottenham this afternoon, right, and Liverpool this afternoon both put down bids of 50, let's just keep it simple, 50 million for Mark Guehi, right? 50 million, yeah? Matt, you with me? Right.
Yeah.
Where do you think Mark Guehi joins?
Okay, well, we'll have to break it down because if it was a thing where he's gonna go straight into the starting 11, then it would definitely be Liverpool. However, Liverpool have arguably the best partnership in the league. We are potentially going to be letting Romero go, so Gay would be coming in to start for us. We're both in Champions League football. We won a trophy last season. We have the potential of maybe winning a trophy this season, depending on what happens. So it depends on Gay's ambitions. If he wants to be a regular starter, the World Cup is coming up in the summer. You know, I don't think he wants to sit on the bench. So it depends, mate. I don't think it's black and white the way you're making out.
Okay. So can you give me an example then of when that's ever happened?
Sorry, what do you mean by that?
So give me an example when a player like Mark Guehi would be talking to one top tier team at Liverpool and then a team in the next level down like Spurs, and he's chosen that lower team.
Kudus with West Ham over Arsenal.
But Arsenal weren't in talks with him, so that's not happened.
They definitely were.
No,
if
Matt,
you go,
mate,
listen,
Matt, they weren't.
If you go on Fabrizio Romano, his Twitter, and you type in Arsenal and Kudus, you'll see.
Matt, again, you're not listening. The problem is, Matt, you have a problem
decompartmentalizing. You just don't like it.
No, let me finish, Matt. Let me talk. Right, you have a problem, right, splitting two sets of wordings. If Arsenal were interested in Kudus but didn't put in a bid, there would have been a reason why they didn't end up bidding for the player. That doesn't mean that West Ham got him over Arsenal if Arsenal aren't bidding.
Okay. But some
You've
of the
got
reasons.
to understand the difference, Matt.
Okay,
You're
fair enough. No, fair enough. I understand what
no,
you're saying now,
no,
but
no, you think this is what you keep mocking me for in the chat. You think this is Football Manager.
no, I don't think that, mate. I don't even. I've never played Football Manager in my life, mate.
You don't understand the difference between being interested in a player and being in full-on negotiations with a footballer.
But
you
Savva,
don't seem to get it.
Why have you not taken into account some of the things I've said? It depends on
Like
starting.
what?
Okay, so for example, when I said that starting 11-wise, Liverpool have got probably the strongest defensive partnership in the league. So Gay will have minimal game time. Listen, if it was to do with going straight into the starting 11, then it would be
How
a
do you know he
no-brainer.
wouldn't go?
Okay, but I think
how
you're
do you
being
know he doesn't go
disingenuous
straight into
now.
their
I
11?
think you're being disingenuous now. Gay is not better than Van Dijk or Konate.
But listen, you have to understand. Look how many of these footballers join Man City, join Liverpool, join Arsenal.
Man City is different though.
Let me talk, right? How many of these players join these clubs, even though they're not going to be told they play every one of the 60 games that year, because they want to win trophies. They want to challenge for titles. They want to play with the best players, Matt. Now, Spurs can turn around and go, Mark Gray, come and join us. You're going to start every game. Yeah, okay, let me join you lot over playing with Virgil van Dijk, yeah, playing with Alexis McAllister, Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz. Really? Do you truly?
No. See,
do you truly believe that?
You're twisting my words.
I'm not.
I know.
I'm
You are,
asking
mate.
you.
Okay, but I'm trying to tell you, if it was a thing of going straight into the starting 11, it will be a no-brainer. I'm not denying that. However, it is a World Cup coming up, okay, and Gay is an England international. I am pretty sure he will want to be starting regularly, okay? So
you don't know that he won't be.
Okay, I don't know that, but I'm just assuming that I'm pretty sure he would want that, especially if he's aspiring to be in the World Cup, okay? England don't have two kind of like stonewall defenders, so it's kind of up in the air for who's going to be the centre back partnership. So he's got all to play for, right? So it depends, mate. I don't think it's as easy as what you're saying, you know.
Okay, but I'm asking then. So I'm asking for examples when that has happened, and I'm waiting for one.
But you can't ask me for examples of when that's happened, because
of course I can.
Oh, okay, but it's everything can happen for, you know.
So here's what I'm asking you, Matt. I'm asking you for examples, not when people were interested. I'm asking you for examples when two clubs were both in for the same player, right? Were both in for the same player, both bid for the player, both in negotiations with a player, and that player has picked the much lesser club than the bigger club.
But you're saying but I've noticed what you're doing. You're being very smart with your words. You're saying
I'm not.
No,
Matt,
you are,
I'm not.
because
Matt, what I've noticed is you can't answer.
I could give you an example.
You can't answer questions.
Can I give you an example?
You can't answer questions.
I will answer your question.
Well, stop beating around the bush. Just answer me.
If I answer it, I already know what you're gonna say. That's the thing. So
Matt,
Declan Rice. Declan Rice.
Stop doing this. Matt, stop doing this. Right.
Declan Rice.
Stop doing this.
Declan Rice.
Matt, stop doing this. If I ask you a question, stop beating around the bush and going, but I know what you're going to say. Declan Rice was talking to the two best teams in the country, Arsenal and Manchester City. I am talking about Liverpool and Tottenham. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between Liverpool and Tottenham and Arsenal and City, right? So I'm saying, give me an example of when a player would join Tottenham over Liverpool, i.e. Gigi Wijnaldum. He had the chance at Tottenham or Liverpool. Where did he go? Shock. He went to Liverpool.
Okay,
Luis Diaz.
Savva.
Hang on,
again,
let me finish talking. Let me finish talking, Matt, right? Luis Diaz had the choice of Tottenham or Liverpool. Luis Diaz went to Liverpool, right? Willian had the chance of Chelsea or Spurs. Where did Willian go? Yeah, that's right. He went to Chelsea. Are you not seeing the pattern here? If there is any world in which you think that Mark Guehi rejects Liverpool to come to Tottenham Hotspur,
No,
is
I'm not. I'm not saying that.
absolutely insane.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is. I've noticed you're doing it again. You're twisting my words. I've never once
I've not
said.
twisted. Matt,
I've
don't
never.
lie. I've not twisted anything.
No, but you have, because the way you may not have twisted my words, but you're twisting the way the conversation's going. Because I have
I'm
not.
not,
Okay,
Matt.
can I
You
finish?
can't answer questions,
I
and then
have
when I
answered
put
you.
you in your
I
place,
said
you
Declan
do
Rice,
this.
and you told me about. Okay, but what I'm trying
But
to say is,
Arsenal are one of the best clubs in the country. We're
okay,
not.
but I'm trying to say
Huge
this.
difference.
Okay, Savva, I'm trying to say this. In no, can I just make this crystal clear, please? Okay, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that Gay will choose Spurs over Liverpool. Like I said to you, it's a no-brainer. However, there is context that needs to be applied. That's all I'm saying. If like what you said, they both come in with the exact same money, it all depends on the player's aspirations.
No, it doesn't. He's going to Liverpool. He's going to Liverpool.
I'm not saying.
What world do you live in?
Savva, it's a World Cup year. That's the thing. I'm not saying.
What world do you live in? He's going to Liverpool.
I'm not saying he won't go to Liverpool. I'm not saying that.
Why would we bid for him?
Okay, but that's just one player, mate. I've listed you about 15 players over the last couple of weeks.
Go to your next player. Go to your next player.
The next player, that I've given you, Barella. Why can't we get Barella? Why can't we get Calhanoglu? Why can't we get Calhanoglu?
Hang on. Well, Calhanoglu's about to sign for Galatasaray, so that's a completely moot point. He's going to.
Yeah, but
Galatasaray.
we're bigger than Galatasaray.
Well, we're not bigger than Galatasaray, are we?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
In what way are we bigger than Galatasaray?
In every way, shape, or form.
Then you don't understand football.
So apart from maybe the trophies they've won because they monopolized their league. Okay.
They're the biggest club in their country. In what world are we bigger than them?
Hold on, can you just answer this? Apart from Galatasaray and maybe Fenerbahce, can you name me 3 other Turkish teams, please?
What Kasimpasa, Fenerbahce, Besiktas?
Yeah.
I mean, how long are we going to do it? Kayserispor?
Okay, apart from Besiktas, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, no one knows any of the others.
But, Matt, what's that got to do with it? Look at Leroy Sané. Why has he just gone to Galatasaray?
Because he wants the money.
So Spurs should get Calhanoglu over Galatasaray.
Yes.
Again, I'll ask you this question. 1, where has Calhanoglu come from? 2, is that a player we even remotely need? Right?
But that's just one example. I can keep going on more.
Okay, go to the next one. Calhanoglu is ridiculous. Your next one was Barella, right?
Barella, but he's a bit unlikely. The only reason why that I said Barella was because Inter Milan are in a bit of disarray. Since they're in a bit of financial struggle as well. So you never know. There's multiple players, that I've listed. That's Gibbs White is a player.
I don't see any reason why. I don't see any reason why we can't. Hang on. I don't see any reason why we can't get a Gibbs White. But again, you've got to ask yourself the question: do we want him? Like when you're saying just go. Hang on. Let me finish. Let me finish the sentence. Right. We can go through a million players. But when we're saying just get Gibbs White, 1, how much are Nottingham Forest going to charge you for Gibbs White? 2, do we need him? 3, do we want him? 4, does he want Tottenham? 5, are other clubs in for him? There's always something to factor in. Now, I'm not saying we can't get a Gibbs White. I've never said we can't. But do we need a Gibbs White? I don't think we do. Ollie Watkins?
Yeah. Because I saw you laughing at me earlier when I said that Ollie Watkins is proven.
Sure, Ollie Watkins is also nearly 30 years of age. You think Daniel? Know your club.
Savva, can I just say something? When you say things that know my club, right? It's not about knowing my club. It's about wanting to change the mentality of my club.
Sure, but you're not going to change. You're not going to change.
I'm not going to settle for less, mate. I'm not going to settle for less.
But it's not about settling for less.
I have high standards, and that's why me and you disagreed so much last season, because You were
You
happy.
don't, Matt, I'm going to put you firmly in your place right now. You have one of the lowest standards I've ever met of any Spurs fan.
I think, well, I'm sorry, mate. I feel the exact same way about you.
Matt, you came on my show every week last year. Everyone saw you excusing defeat after defeat after defeat for Ange-Postecoglou. When fans like me are saying, this is shocking, you excused it. So how on earth can you tell me that I don't have the higher standards?
Okay, I can give you a lot of this, mate, because I've actually watched a lot of your shows, so I know a lot of things you said. I remember a couple years ago.
Are you going to know more than what I've said? Are you going to know more about what I've said than I've said?
Maybe because you do change your words quite a lot, mate. But anyway,
really,
I remember a couple of years ago you put a video. It was about a 10-minute video on your channel talking about how important trophies are, how much they change the mentality of the club, and how much impact they could have for the club. And that all of that context that you added seemed to go straight out of the window with Ange.
Because of Ange-Postecoglou, yes.
But that's because I think it was more personal with you and Ange. I don't know why you did.
Matt, let me stop you there. Matt, let me stop you there, right? You can come on and have your opinion, but you can't just lie. What? See, this is the thing. This is where, and I will mock you now. Yeah, if you get upset at people in the chat doing it, I'll mock you. When people go, oh, you sound young, you do sound young, you sound stupid, right? Why would I have anything personal with Ange?
No,
my problem with that.
Can I just
let me finish? No, let me finish. Stop doing it.
Every time I say before you say what I say the wrong way, mate.
Matt, every time I start talking, stop saying, can I ask? Let me finish the sentence.
I'll let you finish, please.
You're doing it now. I will mute you. I will mute you if you don't let me talk, Matt.
Please, right? I just want to add context.
Sorry, I've muted him because he will not let me talk. I'm not doing this. Matt, I've unmuted you now. Stop doing it. You ask me a question, I start answering, and you go, let me answer.
Because I used the wrong word. That's why. I don't want you
What word do you want to use? Go on. What word do you want to use?
When I say personally, I don't mean it as in like actually personally, as in like you dislike him as a person.
So what do you mean?
That's why I said let me try and change what I said. I meant it as in you got so frustrated with his tactics and the way he overviewed football that it was so far gone, your belief in him as a manager, that no matter what he could do.
Oh, Matt, you're waffling. Matt, you're waffling. Now, Matt, I held on for as long as possible. Now you're just waffling. Listen, let me welcome you to the world of grown-ups, Matt, right? I'll welcome you to the world of grown-ups. My issue with Ange-Postecoglou wasn't all the waffle you just said. It was that he was a shit manager. That was my problem with Ange-Postecoglou, was that he couldn't manage, his tactics were shit, and it was like shit, right? So when you're saying, right, when you're sitting here every week in my show and everyone saw you, right? Everyone saw you every week. Everyone saying this manager needs 3 to 5 years, right? Every single week. Oh, we've lost again. You go, no, this game didn't matter. Then you have the cheek to come onto my channel and say, you need to up your standards. You wanted a manager that lost every week, Matt. You wanted a manager at Tottenham. No, I'm talking. You wanted a manager that lost nearly every single week, right? And then you want to come onto my show and say, I need to up my standards because I understand that some transfers are more difficult than the ones you do. Matt, let me put you in a pretzel right now, right? You come on and you say dumb stuff like, go and get Jared Bowen. And then when I explain to you why that deal won't happen, you go, always an excuse. Don't you understand? We're talking about millions and millions of pounds worth of business. This isn't what you think. This isn't, well, they signed him. Why can't we sign him? You say things like, go and get Anthony Gordon. Go and get Jared Bowen, right? In what world do you live in? You make reasons why Guehi would join Spurs over the champions of England. You make reasons why Barella would join Tottenham Hotspur. Barella, he'll be one of the most sought after midfielders in Europe if he goes on the market, right? Where are you getting these notions from? And let me say one last thing. I learned this a long time ago, Matt, right? You just saying that you've got bigger standards doesn't mean you have, because you come out with unrealistic stuff. Being unrealistic isn't having bigger standards. I want to win the league. I want to win the Champions League. I want to sign Lionel Messi. I want to sign Erling Haaland. I know that shit isn't going to happen. So you know what, Matt? I don't say the dumb shit, right? Then when I don't say the dumb shit, you say things to me like, oh, I wish you were saying more about better players. Those players aren't going to sign for Tottenham Hotspur yet because the manager that you loved, the manager you made excuses for, has us finishing in 17th.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't say that I wanted Ange.
Yes, you did. Every
okay.
week. Yes, you did.
No, okay.
You love him.
I'm going to tell you what I said, and it's the same that applies for Frank. 3 to 5 years, because for me, it takes a manager time to adapt. It takes a manager time to process, especially
Eddie
in a
Howe,
big...
Unai Emery, Nuno Santos.
But it's very
Enzo
different.
Maresca.
It's very different at Spurs due to the
Iriola.
It's very different at Spurs due to
Vitor Pereira. None
But
of these managers took 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, but it doesn't apply to them. Yeah, I'm talking about at Spurs.
Oh,
you can't tell me what. No, but you can't change what my stance is. Sorry?
Pochettino, he didn't take 3 to 5 years. Harry Redknapp,
No,
Martin Yole.
Yeah, but
these were Spurs. They didn't take 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, but
Antonio Conte, he didn't take 3 to 5 years.
But
Jose Mourinho, he didn't take 3 to 5 years.
For what though? What did Jose do?
For anything, mate. You're just waffling.
I'm not.
You had a guy who was in 17th, and you wanted him to have 3 more years.
No, I never said I wanted him to have 3 more years. I was saying, see, this is what you're doing. No, you changed my words again. I was saying last year,
at the end of him to have 3 to 5 years.
At the end of last season, I said if he doesn't win the Europa League, he needs to be sacked, right? However, he won the Europa League, so I said he needed to stay. That's all I said.
That's not what you said all season.
I towards the end of the season, I changed my opinion because of how bad it was. It's true though.
So let me get this straight.
At the start of the season, I said 3 to 5 years. I'm not gonna lie, I did say that, but because of how bad it was getting, it was becoming untenable. So I had to say
it was that for 2 years, but you just ignored it.
Well, it wasn't that for 2 years because we finished 5th in our first season.
Sure, but now look at the facts for the last 20 months. It was fucking dreadful, Matt.
It may have been dreadful, but mate, we're European champions.
Well, PSG are European champions, sure, but yes, I get it. We're the second-rate European champions of a really
poor cup. Even now you're diminishing what we've achieved. I'm
not diminishing it, but the European champions. You ask any football fan across the world, they're not saying Tottenham, they're saying PSG, aren't they?
Oh, okay.
But it's funny, Matt. Matt, do you know the problem you've got here? Can I tell you the problem you've got? Is everybody, right? Everybody has seen the things you've said on every show.
And I'm not denying
Matt, let me finish. And then you come on and it's no, I didn't say that. No, I didn't want Ange. Mate, you went above and beyond to kiss Ange's backside every single week. Every game we lost, I could guarantee you and Reezy, moments after we lost, not to worry, that game didn't mean anything. Every game we lost. Oh, no, but this. Oh, no, but that. But he needs 3 to 5 years. Sorry, no managers get 3 to 5 years. I don't know where you've made up this ridiculous notion in your head that managers have to have 3 to 5 years. If managers are doing poorly, they get sacked.
Okay,
that's the problem.
Okay, well, I apply the same logic to Frank. For me, Frank is 3 to 5 years. It's not nothing.
But I apply the same logic. He's not going to get 3 to 5 if he does a bad job like Ange did.
Yeah, well, mate, it's just my opinion. I want a manager under this regime to be given 3 to 5 years to fully prosper. Okay,
sure, but that's not how it works, Matt.
Also,
again,
Savva,
this is the difference between the reality that I live in and the copium that you live in, Matt. If in 2 years, Matt, if over the span of 2 years you do a bad job, you're not getting your 3rd year. That's not just in football. That's in any walk of life. So you saying, I want them to get
why is Arteta still at Arsenal?
Because Arteta, for whatever you're saying, hasn't done a bad job. Arteta has Arsenal challenging for the title.
He hasn't won anything, though. He hasn't won anything.
But Matt, The words weren't if they won. The words were if they did a bad job.
But you see, this is where we differ, mate. Because for me, trophies are the barometer.
Sure, but not if you're finishing 17th in the Premier League, Matt.
But
Hence why he was
for you.
sacked.
That's for you, though. But I remember you saying that he
Matt, that's not for me.
Get sacked.
Matt, that's not for me. Do you know who that barometer is for? And I told you and everyone else whose barometer this was, and you all laughed at me and told me I was mad. Whose barometer am I going by?
The man that has taken us backwards for the last 25 years.
The man that's taken us back. I mean, sure, taking us backwards. Sure. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? When you say the man that's taken us backwards the last 25 years, you're praising Ange for winning a trophy, our best trophy in 41 years. Didn't Levy just do that as well?
I think that's very disingenuous. I don't think.
No. That's not why I asked you. Was Daniel Levy the chairman last season when we won the Europa League?
Yes.
Okay. So when you use the excuse, well, this manager's won us our best trophy.
Apart from him not sacking Ange, he done absolutely nothing to contribute towards that success. Do you agree?
Okay. So Christian Romero. Who bought Christian Romero?
I don't understand what's that got to do with us winning the Europa League.
Who bought Mickey van der Ven?
Yeah, but mate, he doesn't know anything about football. Daniel Levy is a businessman. He knows nothing about.
Okay.
I don't know why you're defending.
So we're at the argument now.
Daniel Levy now.
Okay, so we're at the argument. No. Listen to what I'm doing. See, this isn't about me defending Daniel Levy. This is about the point of you put yourself into your own discrepancies. And what I mean by that is you twist yourself up into a pretzel. On the one hand, Daniel Levy's done nothing to help us win that. On the other hand, yeah, but Daniel Levy's got nothing to do with winning the trophies. He knows nothing about football. Well, which one is it? You can't have one without the other.
Okay.
Surely.
Daniel Levy is a businessman. That is all he is. A suit and tie man. Okay.
Of course. Like most chairmen. Yeah.
Like most chairmen, agreed.
Sure.
However, you trying to compare Ange winning in his second season to Daniel Levy winning his second trophy in 25 years is very, very disingenuous.
That's not what I did.
You have, because you spoke about...
You don't understand nuance, do you? You don't understand the word nuance.
I do understand nuance.
Well, I don't think you do. I never compared the two. What I'm saying is...
You indirectly did.
What we're saying is, when the manager wins, he's great, right? When the chairman wins, yeah, but he's got nothing to do with it because he doesn't understand football. You do understand how those two things can't be true at the same time.
Oh, so right? Can you tell me, apart from sanctioning signings, what he has input into us winning that Europa League, please?
What do you mean? He's bought the entire squad. He's bought the manager.
See, you say this to me all the time. Can you answer my question? Apart from sanctioning,
what do you want him to do? That's his job.
No. But my point is that if you look at the last 25 years, right? How many bad players has he signed? And even now, I was saying last
how many
season,
good players has he signed as well?
Very few and far between.
Very few.
Well,
do you really want to do this?
Well, few and far between compared to the amount of dross we've signed. It's few and far between.
Sure. Okay. So let me ask this.
But sorry, can I just finish? The same thing I said to you last season, right? Our squad is not a top 10 squad. Okay, so I'm not saying that we are 17. I know you disagree, but the proof is in the pudding.
But earlier on, you said we could finish fourth this year with a couple of additions.
No, I never said that. So you're changing my words. I said,
what did you say?
I said if we sign some real quality, we can finish fourth. That's what I said.
How many real quality additions do we need?
I think maybe about 5 players.
Okay, right. So now we need 5 quality starters to finish fourth.
Well, yeah. Well, not. They don't need to be 5 world beaters, but I think if we sign maybe 2 or 3 top players, and maybe another couple steady eddies that would help improve and rotate the squad, then we can definitely challenge for fourth. Why not? I mean, I look at Chelsea's team in fourth, and a lot of their team are not that good.
Well, but they are, aren't they?
Well,
Chelsea have got a lot.
They're not. Okay, let's go through their team. Their goalkeeper's poor.
No, I don't need to go through all
their
of Chelsea's team.
Their defense is poor.
Matt, but
They've
Matt,
got a good midfield,
Matt,
and they've only got Palmer
this is
up
what
top.
fans like you
They've got
do.
nothing else.
Matt, you're literally belittling an entire Chelsea squad that just finished 4th and won a European Cup, right?
No, okay,
And-
so now you're classing that as a European Cup, but you diminish our European Cup.
No, listen, again, Matt, you don't understand nuance. I'm not diminishing it, but you called us European champions. In my eyes, PSG are European champions, right? Isn't that fair? Are PSG considered right now as the champions of Europe? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right, there you go. That's all I said. So please don't do what you just did there. That's fucking wrong. That's not what I said, right? I see what you do, right, Matt? You got to remember, I see all your comments every day. I see all the stupid shit you say because you don't understand how transfers work, and I let it slide. No, Matt, you don't understand how transfers work because you say dumb shit like go and sign Jared Bowen, right?
Right, okay, well, never actually, but see, you changed my words again. I never
no, Matt,
said
stop doing Matt,
go
Matt,
and sign
listen,
Jared Bowen.
Matt, stop
I said,
doing
why
this.
can't we go and sign Jared Bowen?
Do it. I don't care. Stop being pedantic about the words.
No, but
You keep asking about Jared Bowen's, Barella's, right? Anthony Gordon's. You don't look into any of the detail as to why that would be a bloody impossible deal to do on any front. You don't use logic. You just chuck out names. I mean, Barella would have to be gift wrapped to us for us to go and get a Barella. Because do you not think Barella's going to be wanted by better clubs?
Yes, I do. But can I just tell you what I actually mean? When I say some of these names, right? I don't so for example, when I say Bastoni, when I say Bowen, when I say Barella, when I say these names, right? I'm not necessarily saying and sitting and demanding and saying we need to go and sign these players. I'm just saying I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen us go out and actually show real intent with signing a top player. So,
as I said,
that is my main issue with us.
Okay.
We don't go out and show intent.
Okay, but Matt, as I said just now that you refuted, everyone's just now seen from that sentence. As I said, I will state it again. You don't understand how transfers work, right? Because if Tottenham went to Jared Bowen's agent, right now and said, does Jared Bowen want to pay for Spurs, right? Jared Bowen might say yes, right? Might say yes, might say no. Number of factors. Now they're going to ask, what's the likelihood the club are going to let you go? What's the sort of salary they're going to, the sort of transfer fee they're going to ask for you? How long you got left on your contract? Blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, if they get to the end of that conversation, it won't be one conversation. If they get to the end of those conversations, Matt, and they realize the deal won't be done, you and I won't hear anything about it in the mainstream media. That's not how it works. Agents all day, every day will field phone calls from clubs that are interested in their players that we will never hear about. You will only hear about it, Matt, if it gets to a stage where the player has said, yeah, I'm interested. And the club have gone, okay, we can act on that. And then they talk club to club, right? That's why did
you bring up Bastoni rejecting us?
Hang on. Why did I what?
You earlier on you said that Bastoni rejected us. That goes against what you've just said.
Because that's what we were told, that Bastoni rejected us.
But surely that's just contradicting what you've just said right now.
Mate, listen. There's going to be some that leak out, but you're not going to hear everything, Matt. You're not going to hear absolutely everything, are you? The problem that you've got here, Matt, is when fans say, I just want us to show a sign of intent and go for Barella. It's just, they're just like...
Okay, but Savva, it may not be... Okay,
no,
it may not
let
be
me
Barella.
finish a sentence, Matt. Matt, no. Stop, right? You do what the younger generation do. I want this player, that 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 player. You don't look into homegrown, right? You don't look into length of contract. How much is the transfer fee going to be? Will the two clubs do business together? You don't look into all of these different things, Matt. And that's the problem. So when you're sitting there, I asked you the other day to give me a list of players, and you gave me a list of players. Coming up with things like Çalhanoğlu. Like, from where? Have we ever been linked with him? Has anyone ever said, Thomas Frank likes Çalhanoğlu. Spurs rate Çalhanoğlu. It's just a name you're throwing into a mix to beat Levy with.
Well, I disagree. I completely disagree. You know,
On what?
Well, everything you just said, because there's many signings that have just come out of the blue. Well, for example, I don't know what you've seen, but I've not seen Newcastle linked with Alanga. It just came out of the blue. From
Well, it
what
didn't
I've
come
seen.
out of the blue. They've been talking to him for 2 weeks. It's been in the news for 2 weeks.
I've been following Fabrizio, and I've not seen that once, mate. Personally, I mean,
Mate,
maybe
it's been all over the news for
like
weeks.
I said, if it's been there, then maybe I'm wrong. I'm not gonna say.
What do you mean? We all saw last week they had their first bid rejected. It's been all over the news. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, like I said, I genuinely do follow Fabrizio, and I never saw that genuinely. So I'm not saying that you're.
Fabrizio's not the only part. What are you?
For me, he's the most. Okay, but can I just say what I was going to say before? When I say things,
my brain.
When I say things that show intent, mate. Okay, it's not necessarily to do with people like Barella. It's, for example, it's showing. You can show intent in different ways, right?
Like
so for example, with Kudus, we're linked with Kudus. Showing intent would be put the money down, get the player. Okay, not dilly dallying, and kind of taking long to kind of make the signing happen and taking long with negotiations. That is a sign of showing intent. Put the money down, get the player, move on. That is a sign of intent. And you're going to tell me, well, transfers are not that easy. Well, how come Liverpool wrapped up Wirtz in a couple of weeks?
Matt, we're talking about two different things here. The sign of intent from Tottenham is that we're bidding, right? Now, if we're going to talk about
that's your opinion. But mate,
let me finish. If you let me finish, Matt, you might get to know what I'm going to say. Right? The sign of intent is that we bid. Now, the next bit is, yes, Daniel Levy needs to hurry up and get the deal over the line. Have you ever thought, though? Have you ever thought, just maybe that West Ham's owners, right, aren't going to make this easy for Spurs because of what it looks like to their fans? You ever thought about that?
Say that again. Sorry, it cut off the last bit.
Have you ever thought that, Matt, that West Ham's owners can't just turn around and go, boom, done? Maybe they've got to make it look like it's a bit of back and forth as well, so that their fans don't think that they've been mugged off.
So why did Liverpool get sign Wirtz so quickly for over 100 million?
Again, if you're going to use Florian Wirtz as the example, that's a terrible example, because Liverpool and Florian Wirtz were talking for nearly a month. So that's a terrible example, right? This is the problem.
But they were talking. Was it club-to-club negotiations?
Oh my God, right? Matt, you don't understand how transfers work. They're all very different. Me being frustrated and you being frustrated with how quick Daniel Levy gets them done, it's bloody frustrating. No one is doubting that, right? But you can't say we've not shown intent to sign the guy when we're whacking down 50 million bids with add-ons. So the intent is clearly there. Now, whether they can wrap it... No, stop cutting me off, Matt. Right? Now, whether they can get it over the line or not is different to showing intent. You're not using words correctly. You keep doing this. Like earlier, you think that interested is the same as bidding. Right? Matt, I'm telling you, I've worked in football. I've seen how these negotiations work. Yeah, the big clubs go like that a lot of the time. However, Liverpool didn't do it that quickly with Kirkes. They didn't do it that quickly with Frimpong. They didn't do it that quickly with Wirtz. These deals took ages to get over the line. But no one talks about that. They only talk about Daniel Levy's, which is where I find it disingenuous.
Okay, well, first of all, you said that you've worked in clubs, okay? And you think that I don't know anything about transfers, even though I'd beg to differ, okay? So you should know, right, that before an official bid is put in, there is verbal bids, right?
Not always, no.
No, but generally, they generally with club to club negotiations, there will be a verbal bid, a verbal agreement before there is a formal bid. that is generally how it goes. If you speak to a lot of agents, they will say that. So, for example, when you say, for example, that we have showed intent by putting 50 million down with add-ons, right? I don't think that is showing intent, because I think
how can that not be
I'll
showing intent?
I'll tell you why. I think that the Spurs board have spoken to the West Ham board. West Ham have told them what their price is and how much they probably will sell Kudus for. However, we are penny pinching, and we are trying to play low ball and trying to go in with an offer that we know they will not accept. So to me, that is not showing intent. Showing intent is if West Ham say no, but you can't. No, but Savva, you can't tell me.
Intent and negotiations are different, Matt.
I understand what you're saying.
Do you know what Daniel Levy's trying to do?
Yes, right? He's trying to penny pinch.
No, hang on, Matt. Yes, again, if you're going to be a child, you can call it penny pinching. What Daniel Levy's trying to do, which we disagree with or agree with, depending on our takes, he's trying to get the best deal for the club, right? They are in negotiations. So what would have happened is he would know, Daniel Levy, what the selling point is from West Ham, right? Now, what Daniel Levy doesn't ever do is go, right, they want 65, right, boom, first offer 65. Daniel Levy goes in at 50 with add-ons, right? This deal will probably get somewhere done at 57.5 with some add-ons or something. That's how any negotiation works. That is how the Florian Wirtz deal worked, by the way, Matt. Florian Wirtz, they wanted 150 million euros, right? Negotiate. Problem is, because Daniel Levy does it on every deal, we always say he's penny pinching.
Exactly.
Right? If Daniel Levy gets this deal done, though, has he penny pinched or has he got a good deal?
Well, he may have got a good deal, but the point of the matter is it's taking too long. That's the problem. Again,
taking too long for who?
For me, I'm sick and tired of waiting around.
For you?
Yeah, okay, for me, I'm sick and tired of waiting around. I'm seeing Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, everyone else, now Newcastle, everyone else making signings after signings. And
so other than Newcastle with one, it's not everyone else, is it?
Well, Brighton have made signings.
Brighton have hardly spent anything, though, have they? That's the difference.
See, everything I say, you caveat. This is what I'm saying.
No, because Matt, they're not making. Brighton aren't trying to make a £65 million signing on 150 odd grand a week. This is the thing, Matt. Again, I always say take a step back, yeah, and use context. Brighton are bloody good in the market, right? And I do need to go in 15 minutes because I've got to take the dog to the vet for 4:30, right?
Okay, yeah.
Brighton are bloody good in the market. But you know what Brighton are doing? Brighton aren't buying players at £65 million, and Brighton aren't looking at players who want 150 grand a week. Brighton are going to get 20 million euro deals, right? Brighton are getting free transfers. There's a huge difference. So the only club, other than the big clubs that have made a top signing, looks to be Elanga at 55 million.
Okay.
So when you're saying everyone else, that's
but
not
we are a big
true.
Club, though. We are a big club, and this is.
But we're not as big as the big clubs. That's the difference.
Savva, this is the thing. I think that you told me that I'm, younger generation, or you try and say these little kind of sly remarks about me or whatever. But I think not just you, but a lot of Spurs fans seem to forget that we are a huge club.
We're not massive. A huge club. Bro.
No,
we're not
okay.
a huge.
We may not be as big as Man United, but historically, globally, financially, we are a massive club. We are.
But we're not. This is the problem, Matt. It's an easy throwaway statement. Huge clubs haven't not won a league title since 1961.
When last have Arsenal won the league?
But what's that got to do with the conversation? We're talking about Tottenham. I'm not talking about Arsenal.
No, but what I'm saying is Arsenal haven't won it for over 20 years. You'd still say that they're a huge club.
What are you...
Liverpool before Liverpool.
Matt, don't do this. You're asking me about Tottenham and you want to caveat with Arsenal, right? I'm not talking about Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are as huge as other clubs here. Arsenal were a massive club. But when you're saying the word, we're a huge club, based on what? Never won a Champions League.
I just told you that we're huge.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Financially, we're huge.
Financially,
You can't go. You won't be able to go to a corner of the globe and they won't know about Tottenham Hotspur because we've got fans virtually everywhere.
Not compared to the other clubs, we don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We may not be on the same level as Man United, but we are a huge club.
We're not a huge. Okay, if we're huge, what are Man United? What are Liverpool? What are Man City?
They're gigantic. They're on another level. But in terms of England, especially in England, right? Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United historically are probably the only, and maybe Manchester City nowadays and Chelsea, because of the recent success. But before Levy, and this is what goes back to Levy, I know you don't like to hear it, but before Levy, we were one of the biggest clubs in England.
No, we weren't.
We were.
Saying,
Matt,
okay, but Matt, I hate to break it to you.
You're cutting me off again.
Matt, because I was alive before Levy was.
What about Everton? Are Everton not a huge club?
Everton are not a huge club.
In England, we're talking about in England.
They're not a huge club, are they?
They're a very historical and they are a big club.
Again, so get your words right. If you want to use the word historical, sure. But huge clubs, when I go to you, name me a huge club, no one says Everton or Spurs. No one. This is the thing.
Because football has been diluted.
Your overinflated idea of how big we are is half the problem when you're talking about transfers. Your overinflated idea of which players would join us is because you seem to think our history is bigger than it is. We have not won a league title since 1961, Matt. You can't say a club that has never won the Champions League and hasn't won a Premier League since 1961 is huge.
But Savva, you earlier on you told me that I'm being pedantic about using certain words, but I think you're being.
Matt.
No, but Savva, you're just.
You're impossible to deal with.
You're clinging on to words. I'm saying when I say huge, I don't necessarily mean we are on the level of, like I said, Liverpool and Arsenal and a Man United, but in terms of history, in terms of our fan base now,
it's not as big as those clubs.
No, I know. I just said that. That's what I just said. I said we're not on their level, but I'm saying we are on the next tier down. We are a huge club in terms of finances, in terms of global attraction and support, and in terms of history. We are a big club. But why is that so hard to comprehend?
Sure, but we've gone now from big club to huge elite club, right? Like which one is it? There's a difference. This is why fans like you have an overinflated idea of what players will be attracted to Tottenham Hotspur. This is the problem. Like when we had the Mark Guay conversation earlier, the fact that you think there's a reality in where he would choose Spurs over Liverpool if the bids were on the table is frightening to me.
Okay, so can I
understand.
No, but Savva,
Let me talk, right? Arsenal have 13 league titles. And you're going, oh, yeah, but you call them big. Yeah, they've won 13 league titles, mate. We've won 2. We've won 2 league titles and not since the 60s, right? This is the problem. Our fans don't understand a lot about, we could say, oh, historically this, historically that. Preston North End, historically massive. What does it mean? They can go out and get anyone.
Yeah, but they okay, but see, this is the thing, Savva. This is why you're not listening to what I'm saying. Preston North End.
Don't do that.
Preston North End.
Listening to what you're saying.
Okay,
don't do that.
Preston North End.
Matt, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. But Preston North End might be historically big in terms of what they've accomplished. However, like I said, we are historically big in terms of what we've accomplished, but we also tick off 2 other boxes: finances and global attraction.
We don't have global attraction.
No, but
we don't have global attraction.
You can't go anywhere in the world and they won't have heard of or know about Spurs. You can't say the same
about any Premier League team.
No, you can't say that. No, what are you talking about? Sorry, Savva. What I mean by that is that we have fans everywhere. Okay, we may not have them on the level of Man United. Okay, but like you said, Preston. Would you go to Asia or Africa or wherever and find a Preston fan? I highly doubt it.
Sure, but what's that got to do with how? What's that got
because
to do
I'm
with
trying
it?
to explain to you. I'm trying to explain to you that in terms of finances, in terms of global attraction, and in terms of global reach, we are a big club. That's what I'm trying to say, mate. And I think that
not big
some of
enough
our
to
fans,
do the things you want to do. That's the difficulty you're not understanding.
okay, well, for me, I think that there's a lot of fans that have just accepted that what Levy has put in front of us. Hence why a lot of us are kind of downplaying and belittling how big we are. I'm not saying we are on the level of Man United.
No one's downplaying it, Matt. Matt, stop that. No one's downplaying it. We're a big football club, right? But there's
that's
levels
what I want to
this.
hear. That's what I want to hear.
Yes, but Matt, there's levels to this game. There are levels to this game. There are. Let me explain to you something I keep telling you when you're in the chat and you never listen. Why do Man United? It doesn't matter how bad a season Man United have. Why do Man United attract top footballers? Because they are a juggernaut.
Yeah.
They are ginormous. Agreed. They are what you've just explained Tottenham to be. Everything you've just said. No. Let me talk, Matt. Everything you've just mentioned about Spurs is what Man United are, right? You seem to think we're this huge global club that can attract who we want and do whatever we want.
Never said that.
Only Spurs fans talk like this. None of the other clubs. Let me fucking finish, Matt. Right? Matt, you come out with these unrealistic expectations and don't understand. Bastoni, sure, just do that. Just put the money down. Barella, sure, just put the money down. Let's go and get Jared Bowen with 5 years left on his contract. It'll probably be at £100 million. Like, the difference between me and you is you want me to say these outrageous things that cause clickbait that lots of YouTubers do. But I've supported this club for 40 years, Matt. I know how big we are. I know what we're capable of, and I know what we do. You sitting there going, yeah, but I want better. Cool. If you want better, don't spend a year in my chat, mate, condoning us losing week in, week out.
I wasn't condoning it.
Yes, you did. Everyone saw you every week, mate. Matt, everyone saw you every week make excuse after excuse. I was
adding context.
For losing. No, you weren't adding context. We would lose games to teams like Leicester City. You would excuse it. Right? No, we're not doing this. One thing or the other. If you want to sit here, you want to really sit here and start talking about, I've got the best ambition. I want the best for my team. No one else does. Then have that same ambition every week when we lose games.
So
have that same ambition when we're finishing 17th. Have that same ambition when you come out with your dumb shit every day. I see you going, is this a free pass? You use terms like free pass.
Free hit.
Like free hit, free pass, whatever. This is the ridiculousness of this notion, man.
Well, why would Frank not get a free hit this season?
But why would anyone get a free? What does that mean, man?
A free hit means that basically, obviously, as long as he doesn't relegate us, obviously, I'm not going to say that I accept 17th, but he can just do what he wants in the sense of we have to let him. He has to have a kind of a period of time where he settles in. We can't expect that he's going to put up trees straight away. It's just completely unreasonable. And sorry,
Matt,
Savva, just to go back quickly to one of the points you said before, right? We had the greatest striker in Premier League history at our club. Yeah.
No, we didn't. Okay.
Yeah. We also Harry Kane.
Harry Kane's the greatest striker in Premier League history.
Yeah. But I think, sure. I don't even think it's it is debatable, but I think he is definitely, in my opinion, the best striker in the Premier League ever. We had him.
I just can't listen to stupid shit. I can't. I find it.
You think that's stupid?
Yeah, Harry Kane for me is nowhere near the greatest strikers that have played in this league. Nowhere
near.
No.
Wow.
Sorry, Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Eric Cantona, Dennis Bergkamp.
Luis
Suarez, Sergio Aguero.
Correct me if I'm wrong that he's got better stats than all of them.
No, he's not got better stats than all of them at all.
Well, I think he's the top Premier League goal scorer.
Well, no, he's not.
No,
Alan Shearer
sorry,
is.
not of all time. But I'm saying if he was to have stayed, he would have beaten Alan Shearer, for example.
Sure, but if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. That's a stupid thing to say, isn't it?
Okay, but I think we all know
Okay,
that.
so let's call your answer out. So if Sergio Aguero had stayed in the Premier League, couldn't he have been the all-time Premier League goal scorer?
Well, I don't. Well, he potentially, but I think if you look at the teams they were both in and you compare them, then it puts Harry Kane.
Okay.
It puts Harry Kane light years
So
ahead
now
of
we
him.
want to start caveating all that shit. I'm
But
sorry,
you just
mate. I'm
caveated
sorry.
me though. You just caveated me first.
I didn't. But you saying if he had done this, this would have happened. Sure. What about all the strikers that only played 2 or 3 seasons in this country?
So can I ask you a question? If Harry Kane was
Sure.
if Harry Kane was in that Manchester City team, do you think he gets more goals than Aguero?
I don't know the answer to that question because they play very differently.
Yeah, we know. We will never know. But what do you think?
I don't think so because the way Aguero played was very different in that system. This is the thing. When people like you make everything so binary, and I do need to leave at 15:15 to get to the vets. I've got to leave in 8 minutes. When people, right, make everything so binary, if this had happened, this definitely would have happened. It's very difficult to debate that, right? If Man City had Kane, Kane wouldn't have been dropping deep. Yeah. If Man City had Kane, Kane wouldn't have been their main man because they also had. There's all these different things that come into play. Kane was Tottenham's main man. Everything went through that one man. If he goes to another club, that might not be the same. Might not.
Right.
Right. But what's Harry Kane got to do with any of this anyway? I don't understand where this is.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that we had the best striker in Premier League history, in my opinion. Some people might disagree.
Yeah, but stop saying it as a fact then.
No, I said in my opinion. That's what I said, in my opinion.
Sure. Did you see Thierry Henry play football?
Yeah, I did. But like I said to you,
you think Kane's better than Henry at football?
As a striker, as a footballer, I'd say Henry's better. But as an out and out striker, because Henry wasn't actually an official striker, he started off on the wing. I don't know if you know that.
No, Matt, I was born under a fucking rock. Of course, I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, he started off as a striker. I think it was at Monaco, Juventus. I'm not sure, but so he actually got moved to a striker. So for me, even players like Van Nistelrooy, they are like, I think he was a more clinical striker than Henry. That doesn't mean he's better than Henry.
So if Ruud van Nistelrooy had stayed all his career in the Premier League, would he have had more goals than Alan Shearer?
Well, I mean, you know, I think Alan Shearer was more.
We could do that all day, couldn't we?
I think Alan Shearer was more all-rounded. Alan Shearer was what you call an out-and-out striker. So I think Van Nistelrooy, I don't know if he would.
No. I feel like you've missed my question. My point is this, right? You've got to remember a lot of these stats and all this data all depends on how long someone played in this country. For example, if Cristiano Ronaldo had not gone to Real Madrid, would he be the Premier League all-time top goal scorer? Possibly. So saying if a player stays, they definitely would is kind of a moot point, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying my opinion.
Luis Suarez for me is
for me, I think
Louis.
I agree. I think Luis Suarez is arguably the greatest. I think Harry Kane is the greatest in terms of what he's done, but I think Luis Suarez, in terms of just his out and out talent and what we actually saw of him in those.
In terms of what he's done, what does that mean? When you say he's the greatest in terms of what he done,
well, I mean, he dragged us through the trenches, mate. You know, he was our savior. He scored goals after goals, every type of goal, left foot, right foot, headers, penalties. He link up play.
So did all these other players. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
Feel like
that's what I was just about to say. I think Suarez, in terms of pure talent, was probably the best I've seen.
Okay, all right. I feel like we're getting away. I feel like we're getting away from the point, right?
Yeah, the point what I was going to say was we had.
And I've got 4 minutes, so we need to hurry up.
We had Harry Kane. We had a very good 11 under Pochettino that came very close to winning the league. However, we done nothing in the transfer window. Absolutely nothing to add to that. Absolutely nothing to kick on and try and win. So what is your defense for why we didn't act then? Because you
so Matt, I feel like you've run yourself into a dead end here. Why would I defend that?
No, because you would tell it. For example, now when I tell you about transfers, you tell me about why we can't do
why would I
this.
defend? Why would I defend that?
But I'm trying to tell you, mate. When I talk about transfers now, when we're in a dire
Matt, you can't tell me I won't defend that.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say then is
So where are you going with this?
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is when I say now, for example, about us making signings, you tell me why we can't, about negotiations, about Levy, about blah blah blah. And so why did nothing happen whatsoever in that period of time? We didn't even make any signings.
Why would I defend that? I don't understand why I defend.
No, but that's my point. So when I say that Levy's taking us backwards, and when I say that he is the root
there's
cause,
a difference between him not getting us over the line and him taking us backwards. I'm gonna round the show for this. And people in the chat, I am leaving in 3 minutes for the vets. Don't worry, and I'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. I'm going to show you when you say Levy's taking us backwards. This is the problem, Matt. When the difference between football fans like me and football fans like you is I do my homework, you don't. Right? This is the thing. You've got to know your facts before you start saying shit. Levy's taking us backwards. Now, for all of the reasons I want Daniel Levy out, right? You can't quite get your point across properly. Let me show you. So the Premier League started, can you see that? 92, 93. Right? Can you see that?
Just about. Could you enlarge it a little bit?
Okay, you can see that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where the Premier League starts, this row here, right? You're looking at this column here. Okay, this is the column we're looking at, this column here, all right?
Yeah, okay.
So Daniel Levy's taken us backwards. Let's have a look if he has. So the 10 years before Daniel Levy, 8th, 15th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 14th, 11th, 10th, right? 12th.
Yeah.
Right? So in those years, Tottenham Hotspur finished in the top half of the table 1, 2, 3 times, right? And the highest was 8th.
Yeah.
Right? Since Daniel Levy has been in, right? Tottenham Hotspur, 5th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 4th, 5th, right? So when you're sitting there going, he's taken us backwards.
Yeah.
Those facts don't suggest that he has. The difference is what you're trying to say is maybe he's taken us as far as he can and can't get us over the line to win titles.
No, I completely disagree. I know you're about to go, but I'll end it with this because but the next time you bring up those stats, could you please find out the revenue for those periods of times and then compare how much we've made? Because you have to factor in money. You can't ignore money and how much money we've made since
Matt,
Levy's.
You said he's no, Matt. I'm going to step in here now. Do you know what? First of all, you don't end my show on anything. I end my show.
I was only trying to be courteous, mate.
Right, Matt. I don't give a fuck right now. I've gone beyond being courteous. Right? You don't get to do this. See, what you've done is you've come out with one statement. He's taken us backwards. When I've shown you, well, actually, he hasn't, because look how we've gone up the table. Oh, but the revenue. But which one is it when he's made that revenue? So in either way, he's made the money. He's got the higher league positions. So tell me, just quickly, because I need to go, what has he taken us backwards in? Please tell me right now.
Okay, if you were to do a ratio of the money that we were making and
no, that's not what I asked. What's he taking us
I'm
backwards
answering you. I'm literally answering you.
It's not about a ratio of money.
No, but
what metric has he taken us backwards in?
You don't like my answer, mate. If you were to do a ratio with the money that we were making and generating before Levy took over, compare that to when he did take over, and you kind of do a comparison between league finish, I can guarantee you that we will be underachieving. We are making so much money compared to we're making more money than Newcastle, more money than Nottingham Forest, more money than Brighton. Why are they finishing
and that's why we finished above them for the last 25 years.
No, but what I'm saying is now. That's that now. I'm talking about now.
Oh, okay,
I can go over the last few years as well.
Bollocks, Matt. So for 1 year, we finished below Newcastle, right? And Nottingham Forest. And suddenly, all of this money.
No, but Savva, you're jumping on points I'm making. I don't want to, because I know I'm just trying to say, like, there's multiple facets to this. Trophies, for example, as well. The amount of money we've generated. Why have we won 2 trophies in 25 years?
So why couldn't? Okay, maybe because the managers in those cups didn't get us over the line in the finals and the semis. Ever thought of that?
I'm sorry. I disagree with that. We've had very good managers.
But Matt, you disagree with Matt.
We've had very good managers.
They were very good managers. So then why didn't they win the finals?
Because Levy didn't back them.
Matt, I've got to go. I can't deal with this nonsense.
So do you think Levy backed?
Matt, I've got to go. Matt, I've got to go.
Poch.
I've given you enough. Sorry, what?
Do you think Levy backed Poch?
Mate, if Poch had enough to get to a Champions League final, yeah?
It's just a simple question.
He's got enough to win the final. It's that
Can you
simple.
just answer that? Can you just answer? Do you think Levy backed Poch?
I don't. What does backed mean? I think Levy backed Poch enough that he got to these finals. Should have won some of them, shouldn't he?
Okay.
I've got to go. Okay. I've got to go. Right. But I'm sorry. There are things I will bash Daniel Levy for, but when people are telling me he's taken us backwards,
he has.
Factually, yeah, but factually, I've showed you revenue. He's taken us. Matt, let me fucking finish on my channel, Matt. I'm trying to end my show and you keep cutting me off. You're doing my head in. Revenue, he's taken us forwards. League position, he's taken us forwards, right? Stature as a football club, he's taken us forwards. The difference is he won't do enough to get us over that line. Again, you're using the words wrong. He hasn't taken us backwards. We are better than when he joined. Right. All right. I've got to remove him. He keeps talking over me. Guys, girls, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll be live tonight at 10 p.m. I've got to take Stanley to the vets. I've got about 10 minutes to get him there. Take care, everyone. Much love. Big up to Winston, who finally became a channel member. Much love to you all. Take care. And as always, let's just do what Matt says. We're going to go and sign Barella, Guehi. Let's get Çalhanoğlu. We're going to get Eze as well because it's that simple. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.